And welcome in, everybody, to another week, another edition of the Speed Chess Championship Grand Prix. The SCC Grand Prix is every Tuesday. It's right here. It is the biggest event running, at least most consistent, big opportunity for title players to win cash weekly and ultimately qualify for the Speed Chess Championship. International Master Danny Wrench back with you for the first time in a while. It's been a while, so thanks to everyone who's already here and for those of you tuning in throughout the day. Let's remind you of what the SCC system is now. Obviously, the Speed Chess Championship has been sort of the flagship here on Chess.com for several years now, but this year we went bigger. They say go big or go home, and if you're at home, just keep going big. That's what they say, so that's what we're doing. We're going to continue to go big here on Chess.com with the SCC, and so the system is now providing opportunities for all different types of formats to qualify into the $100,000 16-player knockout bracket, doubling the prizes of previous SCCs that were always $50,000. And as you can see, the Grand Prix there in the corner is the main thing that runs every week here on Tuesday, formerly the Title Tuesday. And the top 4 players through a 20-week system will be qualifying directly into the 16-player knockout bracket. So we see some regular faces right there. They're competing for $2,500 in weekly cash, but really the big prize is the opportunity to guarantee themselves qualification. Probably the only man who knows he'll be playing in the SCC is that guy right there, Hikaru Nakamura, given that he is the reigning champion. So he'll be there, but everybody else, you never know. There's so many strong blitz players in the world and so many young up-and-comers, guys like Alireza Firouzja and Vladislav Artemiev we've seen winning this. So it's so exciting for us because we know that some of the best players in the world might be on the outside looking in when the Speed Chess Championship really comes around. So that's why so many of them play in this weekly event to make sure that they guarantee themselves a spot. Let's talk about how the Grand Prix works. As we see everybody saying hi there in chat, really appreciate it. Shout out to BJH. We see Chess.com Chris. Thanks to all of our mods who are already active in here to help make this event amazing. We know that there's already a lot of title players streaming directly on Twitch and maybe even some directly on YouTube today. But there's how the GP system works. So the Grand Prix points are added up throughout the 20-week season, as we say. The weekly base point is just your score in the Swiss. So if you get 7.5 out of 10, that's the points you get. But making it to the 8-player knockout is where the bonus points start to kick in. Ultimately, someone can get up to 22 points total if somehow they went 10-0 in the main event, and then 12 points if they actually won first in the knockout. And as we said, they're also competing for weekly cash prizes. So $1,000. I remember when the Title Tuesday was $1,000 total. So I remember back in the day when the old man stories are ahead on today's show. So if you're not into that, you might want to run away fast. But what is the format of the event we hold here every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific? Apologies to some of you. We've always had so many events going on right now on Chess.com. We've got the Women's Speed Chess Championship. We've had the Pog Champs event running, so there was a little bit of an inconsistent bounce around on some of these Tuesdays. We apologize for that, but for the most part, it will be every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. It's a 3-minute plus 1-second time control. 10 rounds of Swiss qualify us into an 8-player knockout bracket, and the tiebreak system, as is standard on Chess.com, is the Sonnenborn-Berger system. So, where do we stand right now in terms of the tournament winners we've had? We're now 4 weeks in to the 2020 Speed Chess Grand Prix. That means today right here is the 5th week, and we've seen huge names, right, win. We've seen Artemiev take home one. We obviously saw Maxime Vacher-Lagrave. The last event I commentated on personally was Enviel's victorious day there back on June 9th. Fedoseev won after that, and then Dmitry Andreikin. So a lot of Russian on Russian action there at the top. That's what happens when you've got tons of 2,700 plus guys. They just like keep in the cabinets over there in Russia, right? It's just there's too many world's elite players from the motherland. So that's why you see so many. And in terms of the total season leader, even though Fedoseev, as you saw, has only won one of the events in terms of taking home the top prize, he's been the most consistent, which is why he stands right there with 39.5 points. Vladislav Cavalia, also right there. Artemiev, as we said, won the first of our new 2020 SCC Grand Prix season back on June 2nd. And then it's a who's who list of superstars. I love seeing Parham Magsulu and Alireza Firouzja, the young Iranian duo there, just holding strong right there, right in the middle of the pack. You've got Sergei Kuryakin, who I think has been one of the big surprises, along with Anish Giri. Sergei and Anish, hopefully I can call them by their first names, haven't been known as the most I don't know, the most victorious online chess names in the past. But that doesn't mean that when the world's elite are playing consistently that they're not going to be often finishing near the top, right? So even if they didn't play as many blitz events online as household names like Hikaru Nakamura or Jan Nepomniachtchi or Alireza Firouzja, we see Anish Giri and Sergei Kuryakin holding very strongly there in the top 10 so far in terms of the leaderboard. So going to be an exciting day today. Let's see who's signed up already. I saw earlier we had Hikaru. We've got the Siberian Elephant. That is Vladislav Artemyev, if you don't know that. Obviously Firouzja, Alexander Grishuk. Parhamov is Parham Magsulu. Big Fish 1995, that's the Big Fish, Vladimir Fedoseev, the guy leading currently in the SCC Grand Prix. Konovets is the young Sam Sevian, if you don't know that username, one of the talented young American grandmasters. To Vladimir, let's see how long I can do this, how long I can know the usernames. Dmitry Andreikin is To Vladimirovich. Shout out to his father, Vladimirovich. Right, Russian naming system for the win, FTW. Mickey Taryan is Haik Matiryasan of Armenia, also a super talented youngster who didn't make it into our Junior Speed Chess Championship last year. I took a lot of flack for that, not inviting him, but he's maybe going to get his revenge. Robert Chessmood, also an Armenian talented player. That's the one that gets me. I know Azeri Chess is Shakhriyar Mamedyarov. Dulas is Daniil Dubov. And Liam Lee, Laquang Liam, former World Blitz champion. So, all right, so many big names. I can't wait to see what happens here. We've got Hikaru Nakamura already streaming. We'll stream snipe him for a minute. Shout out to the big guy, Hikaru Nakamura, sitting there at number 1 in the standings. We'll see if he knows that we're talking about him. Let's give it a second. Let's do that thing where like he'll be like, "Oh wait, Danny's watching me. What's going on? Come on, do that thing, Hikaru." Shout out to the chat. We see so many of you. Chess TV. We got Crazy Coffee Man in the chat. Diamond member Petra Gampa. Chat does exist. You're wrong about that, Diamond member Petra Gantra. I'm always watching, just not always acknowledging. Kind of like my father. You know, always watching, more often judging, not acknowledging. You know. The Twitch chat rocking. We've got Stevis5. It took me how many years to start calling him Stevis instead of Steve is 5? There's my producer with a cell phone alarm in the background. Nothing like that. Usually he reminds me to turn off his phone. Now I get to tell him. YouTube, we see you over there. We got an early prediction saying he thinks MVL's going to win. Okay, interesting. Well, the Grand Prix is getting underway, right? The games are about to begin. I'm going to start following all these players because that's what I need to do as the games are now starting. We've got Hikaru taking on Moonstone 123. That's usually where we like to start when we've got Hikaru on camera. Moonstone. My wife is into those, like witchcraft stuff. She got me like a bracelet, which helps with like energy levels and stuff, and like your emotional body, you know. So I was wearing it on a previous show, and I saw someone notice in the chat. Now I've just got these Chess.com swag bracelets. You can get them at our Chess.com store. I don't even know why I'm wearing them. Honestly, I don't, but they are comfy. Hikaru is on the black side of what looks like to be it was kind of a delayed Caro-Kann here. He eventually plays c5 at the danger of the d6 outpost square, but this is going to hang the e5 pawn, and I don't think white will be thrilled with where this is going. The bishop is a beast on the long diagonal. Hikaru having already destroyed the structure, which is everything you're trying to do in a French, right? Even though this was a Caro-Kann, this is kind of a French structure where your attempt to undermine the d-pawn will always create new and open avenues for your pieces. So this is a common positional idea that Hikaru executes well. And the problem with the d6 square is that while it is an outpost, it doesn't have the beef that you need to go with something like that to really make an impact. You know, b7 is certainly going to be a target, but there's no real firepower backing it up. So we see Hikaru laughing a little bit there. We are stream sniping him. Of course, you can check him out. We like to think that the part of the goal of our main coverage here on the official chess channel on Twitch is to help remind you of all the different streamers in the chess category. So you start at the top there with Hikaru Nakamura, unless you're Ludwig, who claims to be the biggest chess streamer of all time. Shout out to Ludwig, who the PogChamps star was born there. And we are going to have Ludwig back with commentary. Don't you worry. For those of you who maybe somehow figured out that chess was a thing on Twitch through the PogChamps event, welcome. And now you're watching the biggest, most competitive, most professional event that runs weekly on the chess internet. So All right, queen probably goes to c6 here, and the point is the knight has sort of run out of... Okay, or queen b8. The point is the knight either way has run out of ways to play tickle with the lady. The pawn is obviously stuck because taking would hang the pony. And so this is part of what I was saying about the issue with an overextended outpost square, right? You want to learn to recognize squares when you look at the board as potential weaknesses, because squares and pawns are things that we call positional, meaning they're long-term. They're not going anywhere. So if you can develop plans around things that are long-term, it's often good. But again, here this was an overextended square because how does white support the knight who almost feels like lost? Now the pawn is really under fire twice by the knight and the pawn here, and you still can't move it without the knight hanging. So I think Hikaru is well on his way to cruising to a victory here. The b2 pawn also under fire, by the way, still, since that beast of a bishop was opened up. So we'll take a look at some of the other games, going. I mean, I don't even know who else is streaming, but we'll go to one of the other big names in the event, Alireza Firouzja. Also with the black pieces to start off. Oh, funny little consistent theme. We have another outpost square on d6. And again, it's another consistent theme. And then look at the pawn going to b6. How hilarious is this, right? We're literally seeing the same theme on two different boards by accident. The pawn on b6 is attempting to undermine an overextended outpost square. White casting long here is almost out of necessity because the king on the e-file was about to run into serious problems, right? I mean, the knight capturing the bishop here and followed by, at some point, some sort of pressure was just too much. So white gets the king out of the middle of the board, but I don't think it's really going to help all of white's problems. Queen moves to e5, saying that I don't want to take this pawn and open up things at my king. That actually makes sense. White is making this a little bit trickier than I first thought it was. Material is actually equal, and that's maybe one thing I didn't quite realize when we first came. I was so focused on the consistent theme of the outpost square. White was actually up a pawn there. So all Firouzja did by capturing was actually win the pawn back. But the main issue is just that white's king is just going to be under so much more pressure than anything that black would ever have to deal with here. Rook to b3. What a nice move. You're doubling up on pressure on the e3 bishop and preparing to increase your strength on the b-file, some sort of battery. I think you can move the queen even to d7 if you want to double rooks so that she can head to a4 or b7 like I first thought. And this is just going to be a very natural way to bring a ton more pieces over here. So, all right, we expect Firouzja to clean up here. I want to continue to spy on some other streamers, although it's funny. I want to stay right here for 1 second because I think knight c3 is coming and he found it. What a move. Knight c3 has a double threat, everybody. Not only does it hit the rook, it's threatening rook takes a3, pawn takes, and queen to b1 mate. It's so pretty, I have to show it. If you do something random, bam, bam, thank you, ma'am. And that's how you do work on the b-file. Firouzja finds... I was wondering if he missed it. Rook takes a3. No, bishop takes c4 first. Okay, because so he takes c4. If you had taken right away, the knight takes. But you eliminate the knight, and after bishop takes c4, rook takes a3 is going to be lights out. What a fanciful finish. Fanciful Firouzja. Didn't I say that was his nickname in high school? Fancy feet. Fancy feet Firouzja. You heard it here first. Will everyone start a hashtag called Fancy Feet Firouzja for me? All about 5,000 of you here early on. We got about 3,800 of you over on Twitch. Yeah, so for Fancy Feet Firouzja is about to get fanciful up in this. Let's check in with another player who we often check on whenever she's streaming. Let's go see how the Chess Queen's doing as Fanciful Firouzja takes down. We've got Alexander Kostyniuk here, the former women's world champion, streamer over at twitch.tv/chessqueen. Check her out. She's white. No, she's black in this one. The board is just awkward whenever you're in a rook ending. So she's actually down a couple pawns, hoping to hold. This is going to be rough. You have to continue to try to create some sort of mating tricks, because if this king gets out... I don't think this was the right move by white. Okay, this is going to help her. She's going to go right back, I think. Yeah. And the king has to run. I think king e1, yeah, that's the move I was thinking white should do, because as soon as the king gets out, what happens is you put the question to the rook. When you make it to the b square, the rook either has to stay on the second rank and therefore neglect the a pawn. Ah, interesting move she has here. She's trying to put the rook in the best possible position to hold both pawns. But now white is actually going to threaten to move the rook with tempi and then push Harry, right? So you're just running out of time. Now here comes rook c6 check, and there's just not enough time, unfortunately, for Alexandra. We see her kind of make that little bit of a grimace there, like, hashtag not my favorite endgame, right? That's what that grimace said if we were translating that. Still a lot of games going on. Let's go check out Alexander Grishik's game. Sasha, as he is known to his friends. Here he's probably not in any position to win unless the knight can do something nasty. Knights have been known to do nasty, right? Now the king comes in and the knight can try to, you play tickle to a square like a6 or something, try to kick the bishop off, but no, now the king is too close. So no matter what you do, the bishop is going to maintain this diagonal. And the reason this is a draw, everybody, is because the bishop can sacrifice for the pawn, right? Remember, you can't checkmate with a king and knight. Seems kind of basic to remind us of that on a show that, is full of the world's best chess players on the planet. But us viewers are not the best chess players on the planet, so we need to remind ourselves of that. So the only trick that white can have in these types of endgames is if the king is not in front of the pawn, what you can do is at some point get the king and knight on a square where you can block the bishop's protection. The problem is that here the black king is already too close. Like if this king was over somewhere else, you could try to coordinate a way where the king and knight would actually block the bishop's eyes to the c7 square, block the gaze. And that would be a way to trick. But otherwise, all you're hoping for here is some sort of fork swindle, which, with the king being so close, I don't think that that even a young FIDE master, who I think, if I know who that is, that's actually a super talented puzzle solver. Notice he's sporting the little Chess Kid logo. That's Peshka, our ChessKid.com mascot. If you happen to have a kid or a chess school program, or many schools closed down right now because of COVID, looking for online chess, you can use ChessKit. It is the scholastic extension of Chess.com. So, okay, this is going to be a draw. We'll continue to spy on some of the other games that are still going. Only one other game actually still going. Samvel Sertakian is also just... Wait, did he just steal? Oh my god, we caught it right in time. He stalemated him. Holy crap. I was like, it's a knight and bishop mate, but did we catch stalemate on the board right as we got there? Knight f5 is a crazy blunder. Look at that. It's the only move that stalemates black because the knight guards this square and the bishop guards this square. Any other move and white is winning. You can still play for checkmate because you're forcing the king toward this corner, which is how you checkmate with a knight and bishop. You get the king in the same color corner as your bishop. Remember that tip. Wow, what a commentator's curse there. Samvel Sertakian, never going to forgive me there. Although I take it on the chin and blame myself when people make blunders. I don't know why, but it wasn't really my fault. All right, so round 2 gets underway. You see there atop the standings, Hikaru Nakamura did get his first game victory. We've got, again, Vladislav Artemiev, Alireza Firouzja, Parham Maghsoodloo. So it's still just a pretty strong list of household names there, right? Competing, and yeah, we all love knight and bishop endings, Crazy Coffee Man, except for when we stalemate, Yeah. BJH saying that's why Amon harps on the knight and bishop mate. Yeah. Well, it's an important one to know. It really is. And it's not intuitive where like a lot of other mates when you get certain like chess geometry skills of how to use the board and sort of corral a king. The knight and bishop corralling process is not always intuitive, which is one of the reasons that you see grandmasters mess it up and make stalemates. So all right, well, we've also got, let's see, we've got other streamer. I think his name is the same on Chess.com as it is in terms of his streaming. So, looks like I misspelled that guy. Classic me. There's a lot of people, but we like to check in with. Jose Herrera. Why am I spelling that wrong? Is it FM Jose Herrera? Does he have the title in his username? Yeah. It's always weird when people put the title in their username. And I know I'm just talking out loud here, but there we go. Now we've got him. Let's check him out because he's actually playing one of the grandmasters who won their first game. Jubileev, who I have played more times than I would like to talk about. Jumbo has made me feel like a Dumbo. Wasn't Jumbo Dumbo's mom? Are we allowed to talk about Dumbo? Is Disney going to sue us? I always forget what the rules are. Don't talk about Dumbo. Talk about Dumbo. Talk about all the crazy things that happened in that film. There's a reason I won't let my kids see it. Let's just say Dumbo is not on the, like, need to explain what happens during that Elephants on Parade acid trip, if you know what I'm talking about, right? Wow. Did I really just say that? Let's move on. But anyway, Jumbo is Dumbo's mom. It has been confirmed. Disney is going to hit that DMCA button, rootaboot new. All right, C4 played. This structure is actually tough. Tough for Jose because the space black controls is going to lead to more open lines. I think, well, the question is, does black want to fully commit to this side of the board? Okay, he moves the rook off. I was going to say even going to E8 or C8 is risky because you've got tactics in the wing. Black is a little bit better. I guess what he's spying is the E5 square, right? Maybe even considering an elimination of the pony and then sinking a piece on E5 at some point. So that's interesting. Also, the rook on E8 kind of prevents white from playing E5. So Jose Herrera is a streamer on Twitch. You can check him out. He's the guy playing the white pieces here, as we said, against Grandmaster Dumbo's mom. The move E5 now hangs the pawn, though. Interesting, but it's kind of a sacrifice because I think what Jose's saying is I get opposite colored bishops in the process, right? So he's given up the pawn, but I think, yeah, it was intentional, right? You can tell he's not super convinced that that means that he's, going to be losing. We see the advantage for black, you can see, is not even quite a full pawn, which tells you how the computers think about it, right? Even though it's a healthy pawn, the light squares, here comes doubling rooks on the F-file, I believe, although queen f2 also a possibility. So Jose going to take a second to think, and either way, there's some pressure here for black, right? There's the F-file, the light square diagonal hitting the rook, the pressure on the F7 pawn. Here comes H5, right? This is one of those weird positions where the opposite code bishop nature of it can be tricky. If the light squares start to open up, suddenly, even though black is up a pawn, white's bishop is much more valuable than black's. The opposite can happen, of course, to white as well, right? If the dark squares become a problem, then the opposite is true. So this is an interesting dynamic. And again, you can go to twitch.tv/FM Jose Herrera and give him a follow if you're into that. We'd like to support all those streaming. Okay, we'll keep an eye on this one. Let's back up a little bit. I want to go back to Hikaru's game because he is the fan favorite, and he looks like he's about to win in sassy Hikaru fashion. Does Hikaru like being called sassy? Will someone check on that in his chat? Say, Hikaru, Danny wants to know if you like being called sassy. 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 All right, F3 is played to just stop the party that was coming to the G file. The queen backs up, but come on, Hikaru. There's got to be something just delicious here, right? What is it? Rook C8. You just sacrifice him. Yeah, I called it. Bam, bam. You open up the A file. The bishop comes into A6. Or is it queen c1? Is he going to play queen c1? Oh, that's a sick retreating move. That's nice. Retreating moves like that can be missed often, right? But now, okay, queen c5 is fine. I was going to say you could have also played bishop b5 check first. That would have been my choice, Hikaru, but whatever. Right? And Hikaru does indeed take it home. By the way, Firouzja already won his second game. No. Yes, he did. He won this game here. So many other games still going here. We are only in round 2. The Speed Chess Championship, the SCC Grand Prix rolls on. Welcome in here on this particular Tuesday. All right, well, a guy that is among the leaders in the overall SCC Grand Prix, the Siberian Elephant, Vladislav Artemiev. We're checking in with him right now. He's taking on Ritvars Raymanis. Looks to be in a pretty good spot. Let's see, how does black open things up? You'd like to get the rook going, so you back up the knight to clear the e-file. That makes sense. The king is a sitting duck over here. In fact, if knight c6, I think you throw rook e1 check in first. No, he takes it. He's patient, he says. Patience. Patience, young Padawan, Artemiev tells me. Yeah, but now rook d1 comes in. I'm not sure I wasn't right. I think maybe he should have played rook e1 first. He's settling on rook e5, but queen e5 is an option, followed by rook f8. I mean, it's dangerous for white for sure, but 2 rooks for the queen, right? Okay, doesn't do it. He's going to get the rooks doubled the old-fashioned way. And it is still super difficult for Ritvar's to deal with this threat. So the Sib Elephant is a tricky one. Here comes Rook E2. Yeah. Trade and then Rook E3 or Rook E3 first? Okay. Oh, Rook E3 would have blundered Queen F8 mate. Classic Dan. Here's how you blunder away the game, Dan, which was my nickname in high school. Here's how you blunder the game away. Now Rook E3. I would have blundered Queen F8 mate. Let's just be honest. I should just leave now, right? Retire? What do you think, chat? You into that? Yeah. Well, okay. No, chat's not calling for my head just yet. Appreciate getting a lot of new subscribers over there on YouTube. Thanks for hitting that sub button if you're tuning in. All right, a ton of games still going. We see there Hikaru still atop the standings. A lot of big names throwing down still, though, in round 2 here. Speaking of big names, I think he usually streams, but we'll go check out Bortnik, the bullet specialist from Ukraine. Made it all the way to our first ever Bullet Chess Championship final last year. The Bullet Chess Championship will happen again. You saw the graphic earlier for those of you who've been here. It is part of the SCC family. The winner of the Bullet Chess Championship guarantees themselves a spot into the Grand Prix. Bortnik is one of those guys one of those rare guys you look at as, can go toe-to-toe with the Hikarus and the Farujas just in terms of pure mouse speed. Although, as I talk good about him, he's about to go down. We're learning what the Rook can't do. What the Rook can't do, there are a lot of things a Rook can do. Let me show you what a Rook can't do. A Rook can't stop 2 pawns on the 6th rank. A lot of people don't know that, but the Rook is just not powerful enough to deal with the threat of what the pawns want to become, which is a new lady, right? So very, very commonly you see Rook ending. Oh my God, he stalemated him! Oh my God! Right as I get to the final. That's the second one I've had today. I'm on fire. I'm jinxing these guys. Look at that. He gets a new queen on E1, which is stalemate. It takes away the A5 square. What is going on here? I mean, the last time I commentated, we had stalemates at PogChamps. It was a slightly different level of chess player, which is great, right? No, to each his and her own. But this is shocking. You just saw Grandmaster Violord stalemate Bortnik. By the way, did I not call in a previous SCC? I'll bring him to the game and say, so we have something going on in the background. But I swear I called that Bortnik plays out games a lot longer than other people do because of his bullet prowess. And I swear it's because of stalemate potentials. Because he plays so many bullet games, he's used to it. I've seen Bortnik get stalemated more often than a lot of other players at his level. So, crazy stuff. Wow, that's a fun way to start the day. Bortnik gets stalemated to 2 queens. Fun fact, by the way, this is a fun little teaching opportunity for Chess.com. If you have auto queen on and you hold Alt when you move the pawn, look what happens. It gives you the selection. Now, if you don't hold Alt and you just get a queen, it'll be automatically a queen if you have auto queen on. So that way you don't have to go into your settings. A lot of people don't know that. You're in a time scramble, bullet blitz, and you want to get a queen, but a queen would be stalemate. Any other piece wouldn't be, right? Although here, funny, a bishop would also be stalemate, but who gets a bishop, right? Who gets a bishop, am I right? And why does root beer make you burp? Thank you, Jerry. Yeah. All right, round 3 begins. Absolutely crazy stuff. We see the standings there. Artemiev, the reason he leapt frog, I think that works. You can past tense a froggy. The reason he went Frogger is because of the tie breaks. And again, tie breaks are based on, I'm just going to summarize and say kind of strength of opponent. Ooh, look at that. Fabiano Caruana is playing. That's how crazy these events are. Like, we've been sitting here talking, and the world number 2 is competing in the event, and I didn't even get the memo, right? Hey, did you get that memo, Peter? I'll get you a copy of the memo. Oh, you got, yeah. Need you to come in on Saturday. Fabiano Caruana taking on Like Water. In an English attack that is a position after my own heart. Back that lady up to D2. Although 95 comes in, maybe that's what he's worried about. Ooh, Queen B6. That's an instructive idea if it's good. So one of the things that happens in these Kan Sicilian structures, put on your focus mode, we got some teaching coming on, the potential risk of the Con Sicilian is the dark squares. Now, very rarely do you get a clamp that really exposes it because black is going to get b5 and even try for d5, right? So eventually those dark squares are not a thing. But with the move queen b6, Fabiano's saying, I'm gonna clamp and camp. I'm gonna clamp and camp, right? Which is like glamping, right? Instead of sleeping on the dirt, sleep in a camper. It just makes sense. So the point is, now these pawns are forever stuck. And if those are stuck, you know who else might be stuck? Right, so you're creating a bit of dark square dysfunction with the move queen b6, and it's not the most common idea because normally when you've expanded the pawns, you're keeping the ladies on the board with ideas of checkmate, right? That's the whole point of the English attacking pawn storm. But here Fabiano has different ideas in mind. I'm gonna try to follow another streamer. We'll see if his username on Chess.com is the same as his name I see. I don't think so. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna try to follow him just because he's an interesting character. And that is what we do here. Now they're in suspense. Who am I about to follow? Well, let's bring him up. FIDE Master Alexander Prohorov is streaming in style over there. You know, those might actually be prescription because he's clearly streaming in front of a window, right? And that might be like, that's not just for the look, right? That's like, you know, it looks good, but it also feels good kind of thing, right? That looks good. Yeah, get your emotes out, your sunglass emotes. I know you got them. Got the shades going. I like this stuff. Oh, never mind. He's gone. You take the shades off, we're leaving you, buddy. Not interested in covering you if you're not wearing the shades. Hashtag real talk. Anyway, but he is a FIDE Master. Also, go give him a follow. Again, so many people streaming chess these days. Sometimes people find and discover them through our channel here. And we want to encourage that. So go ahead and check it out. Give FIDE Master Alexander Prohorov a follow. So all right, let's go back to some of the bigger names playing. Like we were on Fabiano Caruana's game, as we've already highlighted for you. Alireza Firouzja, one of the big guys in the event, currently up almost 2 minutes against another Grandmaster. Feels bad, man. In a good position. Hikaru Nakamura also on the black side in round 3. Also way up on the clock. Looks to be in a pretty good spot. Remember, you can go to Chess.com directly yourself. If any of our moderators or helpful chatters are able to maybe share a direct link to the tournament, we'd appreciate that. So you are one click away. Or you can just go to Chess.com's live server, chess.com/live, and find and watch the games by all of these big names. So. So many big names. I'm looking at the list here. So many people to follow. Throwing down in 3-1 right now. As we said, we've already got the Vladislav Artemiev, the Siberian Elephant. Always watching him closely. And I wanted to spy on it because it looks like he's in some sort of trouble here. Is that mate on h2, or are you just happy to see me? How do you deal with that? You can play queen g1, but then queen h4 does the job. So knight f1 hits the queen, but then there's also knight f2 check. What a weird position. Let's see if the Siberian Elephant can figure this out with mate on the board, potentially for white. I want to see how he deals with this. And why the computer thinks it's equal. I'm just happy to see you, Coffee Man. I mean, not really see you. You know, we talk in loose terms these days in the world of online chess, world of online everything. So he sacrificed. Yeah, I mean, he had real problems. It's weird. The computer didn't quite believe that it was over. I wonder if so. The computer thought that white could have played knight f1, And then after this check, if takes, the queen hangs, so the black maybe's best option was just to settle on the perpetual. I think that's why the computer was putting up a donut, right, instead of saying that black was winning. But notice that Artemiev does not find that, and now he's in trouble, right? Miro Vlasenko is in position to defeat one of the normal favorites to win it all, someone who has won one of the legs of the SCC Grand Prix already. He actually won the first one of the 2020 season back on June 2nd. So this is going to be a huge upset if Artemiev goes down here. Well, I don't even know where else to go right now. We had another streamer, but his games are done, so we'll check on him a little bit. Our one and only Creek, or we'll check on him next round. I'm keeping an eye. Fabian Caruana, by the way, did win his game in style. Hikaru Nakamura looks like he's about to move to 3 of 3. But this is going to be the biggest upset. Whoa! H5! Knight H2. Or no, he misses it. Knight H2 is the move. There, he sees it. Knight H2, you win your material back. This is why Artemiev is so good. He's just completely lost there, but he's just tricky. The guy is he's just nasty. I mean, now Rook H3 is coming. Actually, white is the one on the grind here. I mean, you've got 3 pieces for the queen. Totally better for white. And the black king is in a ton of danger here on H6. Rook G2 and the lady is gone. Absolutely crazy. So, as I called what would be the biggest upset of the tournament so far, as the universe likes to do, it proves me wrong again. And Vladislav Artemiev swindles his way to a victory. What a crazy position there. I wonder what black could have done differently. This whole idea, this whole thing here, Rook F8 was just a bad move, I think. You had to start trading pieces. Black was still in fine shape if he had just gotten pieces off the board. But as soon as he blundered this Knight H2 idea and white started winning material, it was over. So, all right, huge win for Artemiev. We continue to roll on here. Right as I check on Daniil Dubov, the young man from Russia gets the dub. So he is continuing to keep pace with the tournament leaders. All right. Remember, everybody, that this is the SCC Grand Prix. We've got a lot of games still going here in round 3. We will take a couple different breaks throughout the Swiss portion as we qualify our way into the knockout. That is for fair play, which will remind you of all the things the team is doing behind the scenes right now, working hard at some point. And to make sure that everything is still copacetic. Shout out to the crew that makes all these events happen. We know what you're doing. You've got Simon and Nick. You've got Chess.com Chris. You've got all kinds of people working hard to make this awesome. So thank you for that. Some new people joining the crew too. All right, I don't know which game to look at because they're all well, frankly, they're all not that interesting. That's the truth. I don't know which. Oh, Rook A2 blunders the rook. There we go. I chose right. Nothing like grabbing a blunder just in time. Maybe we'll get another stalemate, huh? Let's stay right here. Too bad. No stalemate for this guy. Shucks. Right? We've already swindled a couple stalemates out of these players. They don't even know that that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for the train wreck. Okay, we've got a rook versus knight. Not everyone's favorite as far as chess positions go. Pretty easy draw. But we'll see. Stranger things have happened. And the main reason it's a draw is, well, what you're about to see. There's no real way to force the king back to the 8th rank. And even if you do, even then it's still a draw. But the point is that the knight is just such an easy piece to play close to the king. And, you know, short of make it now, see, now the rook has to choose. If you come here to cut the king off, then the knight can move. If you had gone to pin the knight, then the king would have come up. So the rook just doesn't have the ability to corral the king and knight. The knight works super well close to the king, and short of some sort of crazy blunder, it's a draw. And in this case, it looks like they actually just achieved a 3-move repetition. This position had occurred 3 times. So with that, round 3 actually comes to a close, and round 4 we start to see the big names throw down. Hikaru Nakamura taking on Sergei Kuryakin here. That's Sergio Chess 83. Kuryakin is actually a former competitor in the main SCC, if you didn't know that. In 2018, I believe it was, he qualified through one of our invitationals that gave kind of the world's non-elite players a chance to qualify in. as this round gets in, let's remind everybody again of the different ways you can get into the SCC. We'll bring back that graphic as the opening stage gets going here. Remind you, this is what it's all about. The Speed Chess Championship is our flagship. You're trying to qualify your way into the main $100,000 16-player knockout bracket. Obviously, the Grand Prix is what you see every week on Tuesday. That's in the lower right corner. We still have the Junior Speed Chess Championship, where the world's top players under 21, the Bullet Chess Championship, as well as a couple of different invitational and open qualifiers we're going to hold. They're going to be pretty exciting. More details on those things TBD. TBD, for those who don't speak French, is to be doggy. Let's go check on Krigor's game, because just in time, a streamer who everyone loves seeing is taking on Fabiano Caruana, right? The man below me right here is the face of Chess.com in Portuguese in many ways. So if you happen to speak PT, you should head over there and definitely give him a follow. And Krigor is one of those guys who also does stream and do videos in English. Super talented guy. Helps manage a lot of the stuff that we're doing to help grow the game in Portuguese-speaking countries. So, all right, so Krigor from Brazil taking on Fabiano Caruana. We've got a Sicilian with likely kings on opposite sides of the board if Fabiano ever decides to castle. But he's doing what you should do in a lot of these positions, which is accelerate the need for pressure. If you don't have to castle and give white clarity, don't do it. Meaning the moment you put the king over here, even if he thinks that's where you're going, you really allow them to focus. The fact that black has the flexibility here and could, in theory, castle long kind of keeps white guessing in a lot of ways in terms of what to do. And so the fact that black has the two knights here, trying to expand, this is very useful. Now with the move f5, Fabiano has the option to take e5, I think with both the queen and the knight. Knight take seems safer. Anytime you bring the queen out, you have to worry about ideas like bishop f4 in some positions, I think. Yeah, and then it gets like super spicy and okay, it looks like I guessed right. The computer agrees. That's the problem. He plays b4 instead of taking with the knight though. I think that at some point the question will be does Krigor have enough or is he bluffing? There it is, castles long, called it. That's why Fabiano was delaying this, because he wanted the option to get the king out of dodge. I actually don't know if this was the best. I wonder if black couldn't have just taken here. Now Krigor has time to deal with this. He takes and could defend the pawn slowly with queen g3, which also would have hit e5. Instead, he doubles down on the e6 weakness, right? So what's going on big picture here? We no longer have the race position that you have when the kings are on opposite sides of the board, right? Both sides just racing to see who gets real threats first. So now we have one that's a little more positional in nature, right? The e6 weakness for black, the e5 weakness for white. I kind of like Krigor's position, to be honest. I don't really know that Fabiano handled that as well as he could, and I wonder if Krigor can't go pawn grabbing at some point. g3 is an odd move. A little bit of a I'm afraid of Fabiano Caruana move that maybe he regrets, because now Fabi just takes the pawn. Yeah, I don't know that g3 was necessary. Getting harder now. Krigor down almost 2 minutes on the clock, and that's part of what happens when you play against some of the best players in the world, is they're not just better than you, they're also faster than you. So rook e1 played, and Fabiano just needs to get the queen out of dodge. You could also eliminate the dark square bishop first and then back up. Because you start to worry about discoveries here, right? If you back up the queen, this knight moves. Maybe there's some sort of battery. So I wouldn't be surprised to see if Fabi trades on e3 first. Caruana has yet to get into one of the knockout brackets with the new SCC Grand Prix. He was close in a couple of different weeks, but he has yet to qualify his way into the 8-player knockout, where all of the remaining competitors join us on camera, and we get to kind of duke this thing out speed chess style, where they play mini matches. It's a lot of fun, combining what has been this long-lasting weekly event here on Chess.com, titled Tuesday, as part of the speed chess kind of family. It's a lot of fun. So if you're just tuning in for the first time, hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, and don't go anywhere else for the biggest events in online chess. Knight e4. I like it. I love it. Although apparently it blunders the knight. Whoa! Look at Krikor busting out the tactic, and the computer likes it. You take with the rook so that you can deflect the defender of the c4 knight. Fabiano has blundered here, and this is going to be a wild finish. Only 26 seconds for Krikor is a bit of a problem. Is that a green screen behind him, or is it just like a really, really well done, kind of mudding job? It seems it's got to be a green screen, right? Yeah, I'm gonna say, is that? I don't know where you are in the world of some sort of porcelain vase, but hopefully you can get out safely. Okay, bishop takes e6, but isn't rook takes e6 a problem? Because the knight is pinned to d1. Okay, so knight f takes, and now Fabiano has gotten himself right back in it. Queen takes e6. The knight is pinned for the win. I don't think Krikor calculated that accurately. Just the fact that it's become a mess again, even if Krikor's position is somehow objectively fine, you have to like Caruana, right? I mean, the position is sort of a coin flip, but the queen moves anywhere with only 7 seconds. I have to like Fabi's chances. Knight e6, though. Knight e6. Knight e6, bishop takes e3, knight takes d8. You had bishop f2, maybe that was the idea in the e-pawn runs. Okay. I think so, anyway. That's what Fabiano thought. Now black is doing just fine. The bishop supports the passed e4 pawn, and black should be better in the endgame. This has been an exciting one, though. A back-and-forth one. Shout out to Krikor for giving the last championship challenger in terms of the world title a run for his money. Yeah. No, black should just be better here. It's materially equal, but with the e-pawn running. So the real problem is white has held the e2 square. So that's the only thing that makes Caruana's life difficult. He has to figure, okay, king d6 would maybe blunder to knight f5? Maybe not. Fabi calculates it. He decides, I'm going to allow the fork, but here comes knight f5. Black doesn't have a way to punch the e-pawn forward, and I wonder if Caruana is going to settle on the perpetual, on the draw. Rook e5, you have to move the bishop if you want to win. King d6 is instant game over, threefold repetition. And Fabiano accepts peace. Krikor holds the American #1 to a draw. Huge result there. Look at that. Krikor, a little bit of a stream delay, which is good for fair play. He's like, I did it. I didn't lose to Caruana. Hey, dude. That was actually really well defended there. I mean, I wonder if Fabiano missed a chance earlier. But even when the rook was on the 6th rank, note that there was no bishop a6. So this was never a super clean push forward, right? Shout out to Krikor for making it messy. All right. By the way, Alireza Firouzja got a victory in his game. Hikaru Nakamura took down Sergei Kuryakin, so kind of where we started the round. So he continues to stay among the perfect players there with 4-0. We have a few more games still going here. Let's check on Vladislav Cavalia because he is one of the top players in the overall Grand Prix standings right now. He does now get a victory, so he continues to maintain pace as well. Let's remind everybody of what the season standings are if we can. Those are the players in this particular tournament, but the Grand Prix standings overall have Fedoseev and Cavalia as the top two guys, basically at 39 points apiece. So shout out to Cavalia, who we just brought on camera, and that's a reminder of maybe a household name you didn't know you needed to get to know, right? Cavalia right now playing some fantastic chess early on in our 2020 season here. Okay, so like we said, still some other games going, not too many. I'm spying for some interesting positions / big names. Closed and boring. Closed and boring. Just like most of today's youth feel about books. Closed and boring, unfortunately. Open up a book, youngster. All right. This is a Rook and Bishop versus a Rook, which should be a draw, but unlike the Rook versus Knight that we saw in the last round, this is one that is often harder to hold than it is to draw. Because here you see the king and bishop can actually... Oh, now it's actually over. I think the rook can move, and the king is actually in a mating net here. The king can hide in front of the bishop. Ooh, he goes to b3, but then rook b8 check. Interesting, because if bishop c3, no, now the checks are going to begin. Rook d2 check forces the king back. Rook e2 would have been over. Aha. There should be some sort of mate. Bishop to d4 and rook a1 is just... Rook a1 was mate! Rook a1 was mate! He just missed mate and won. Rook a1 was mate on the board. That's the whole point you set up with the king and the bishop, where the bishop can block... Rook a1 is mate. Oh my God, don't miss it twice, buddy. I'm getting old over here, right? A little bit of a heart attack, all right? A heart attack. Okay. Well, we'll go back to closed and boring, right? Couple of nights without really a lot to speak of, but that last particular finish there is a really good example of how you're supposed to use the king and bishop. Where the bishop blocks the checks, but also holds these squares that allow you to sort of corral the white king in a mating net. So this is, like I said, objectively, the king and rook versus king and bishop is king, rook, and bishop is a draw. But as we see in practice, more often than not, it's very difficult to hold, especially in blitz. All right. Whoa, white does somehow win a pawn. Probably not enough to win the game, but we'll stay right here. It is the last game that is going here in round 4. Reminder, right after this, we will take our first break, where the Fair Play team continues to proctor, allows them, as they're constantly running plies, pushing moves into our algorithms, along with randomly and selectively grabbing players into webcam and screen share proctoring. I'll remind you of everything that we do as those who tune in, and rightfully so. You know, the chess world should always be skeptical and critical of methods of anti-cheating. We work super hard here and invest in it all the time, but I'm confident to say that at this point in the SCC, nobody who has won or been successful in the 8-player knockout bracket is somebody that we suspect of fair play violations. So something we continue to work super hard on, and often you don't even know the title players we're closing. You don't even know. That's by design, and it's happening all the time. We got a confession in our inbox yesterday from a grandmaster who cheated on our site. And I'm not allowed to say, but just a reminder that we close grandmasters all the time and often get met with deny, deny, deny. Then they realize they're missing opportunities. And so best thing for them to do is to be honest, confess, serve their time. We require, often depending on the level of offense, a different kind of varying scale of how long they have to be playing without even the right to ever play in a cash event again. They have to serve their time, and then they get a chance to come back. So again, it was actually it's always nice when we get confessions from grandmasters. We don't need them in order to act, and we are confident. Otherwise, we wouldn't. But it is nice when you get them because it's validation. And you know what it also says? It's validation for results they had against other people. It gives us even more information. I love teasing this out. And people are always like, you don't do enough to stop cheating. You don't know what you're talking about. We're working on it all the time. Love you guys. Should we take a break? Looks like, oh, black's going to win. Wow, I tuned out. Somehow black's going to get a queen here. Touché. Get a second queen. Why not? You only live once, bud. YOLO. I could go for some frozen yogurt. Fro-YOLO. I always wanted to open a frozen yogurt restaurant called Fro-YOLO. Frozen yogurt because you only live once. Fro-YOLO. And it's also low-cal. Fro-YOLO. All right, everybody. Don't go anywhere. The Speed Chess Grand Prix continues in just a few minutes. We are taking our very first Fair Play break. We will be back with more action in just a couple minutes. And yet again, we are back here after our first fair play break of the day. Remind you of what Chess.com's fair play process from a bird's eye view. We have a massive team, both of statistical experts, so statisticians, data analysis, people working hard, along with manual review going on by numerous title players, including grandmasters. In March, which was a few months ago, but a sort of a benchmark we've used as where we're kind of at generally, honestly, since COVID, since kind of a massive booms continuing here in the world of online chess. To date, we have received confessions regarding fair play violations from more than 300 title players, and those of you that were here heard me share that we received a confession from a grandmaster not less than a day ago. We have 7 total confessions by 7 closed grandmasters. We have closed more than that, but 7 grandmaster confessions in total. If I did my math right in my head during the break of people I could offhand say that I know admitted. Maybe more, actually. Anyway, but we move on. The team continuing to work hard to proctor people on video, require screen share, and also, of course, the algorithm doing the heavy lifting in terms of decisions that are made. So here's where we stand right now on this June 30th, the Speed Chess Grand Prix. You see there, Alireza Firouzja, Daniil Dubov, right there in first and second as far as names. You know, Alexander Zubov, of course, the list goes on. The 404 players still stretches past the first screen. We know Hikaru Nakamura is still on 404, just to name one of the biggest names. In fact, he's taking on Jumbalayev right now, Jumbo, not to be confused with Dumbo's mom, Jumbo. So Jumbo getting the white pieces here against Hikaru Nakamura. We checked in earlier. We know that we had Alexandra Kostyniuk, the former women's world champion, chess queen, streaming. So many players, Alireza Firouzja, as we said, also leading the field, and too many to count right now. As the event rolls on, you get a little bit closer to knowing who's having their day. Hikaru has yet to win one of these events since the Title Tuesday became part of the Speed Chess Grand Prix. Now, he's been super busy competing in all kinds of other online events, so that wasn't holding it against him. I'm still pretty sure he's won more total Title Tuesdays than any of the world's elite grandmasters. But I think I say that because I think Hikaru would like to get one. I think Hikaru would like to make it into the knockout and really have a great day. And currently, he is on 4 of 4 here with the black pieces. So, but at this point in the event, we also still have so many people streaming who may not even make it into the knockout. We try to stay in touch with them. One of the streamers we're going to check in with now is the one and only Anna Kramling. She's been doing commentary for the Women's Speed Chess Championship, now brought to you in partnership with Chess.com and FIDE. So shout out to our partners at FIDE who really pushed us to invest even more into the Women's Speed Chess Championship this year. We have done so. It has an entire system now, sort of its own little mini Grand Prix kind of version, different mini knockouts happening every week here where you see Grandmaster Robert Hess, Anna Kramling, and many others doing commentary for the Women's Speed Chess Championship. So here we see she's white and much better in the position. She somehow got this check on g6, and the black king is stranded on e7. This is a problem. Problem for black. Vision 64 is going to need to get his glasses checked, right? Huh? Let's start seeing 2020 instead of 64. Although these days no one wants to see any more of 2020. We're done with it. We're over it. But as far as this game goes, big trouble for black here. You can move the bishop anywhere. f5 seems like a natural square because the pawn is pinned. We'll see what Anna comes up with here. Nice little smiley face pillow in the background, right? My daughter has one of those, like an emote pillow. I think it's the emote with like the crazy tongue sticking out, though. That's the one that my daughter Hazel has. So there you go. Shout out to emote pillows for the win, huh? Right? 2020 is halfway done. Thank you, Raygon QC. That's the best news I've had all week, actually. Is it? It is, right? June 21st is like the halfway point or something like that. I don't know. I guess the end of June. But June only has 30 days, so technically we're not quite halfway done yet. But we're close. I don't know. I don't really do the math on things like that, but I'm going to take your word for it. All right, here white can do a lot of things. This is going to be, in addition to the fact that we have Anna, one of our well-known commentators now on camera. This is an exciting one, so we'll stick it out. Queen f7 and knight b5 is the threat. That is checkmate in 2. All right, that is math I can do. Queen f7 and knight b5 is a problem. In fact, getting rid of the knight hardly helps because you just open up the bishop to come to a3. So this is a problem for also Women's Candidate Master, Vision 64. So how do you deal with queen f7 and knight b5 threats? Right? Knight takes g6 doesn't even stop it. You're still getting checkmated, if I'm calculating that correctly. So she plays bishop takes c3. Yeah, Anna just smartly captures back, takes a sip of what looks like cranberry juice. I'm going to guess. Okay, but now queen... Okay, bishop a3 check first and queen f7 both do the job. We'll see how Anna finishes this one. They can both be met by c5. I want to solve the mate here. I want to go full puzzle rush. There's got to... Okay, I got it. Okay, queen f7, king up, then you remove the knight. And then we have mate? That work? Right? King can go to c6, but this has got to be a problem, right? Got to be mate here. So that's one way to do it. Anna calculating. Hopefully going to put this one away. We'll be moving on. A lot of other exciting games going right now. I think we're going to head back to Hikaru's game with June Belayev here. Oh, she takes on g6, so we see there. Not the best move, actually, because that lets black escape. So, unfortunately, Anna, we're going to leave it there, assuming you will finish the job. But that was not maybe the fastest finish for white. But, all right. Hikaru playing the black pieces versus June Belayev in a rook ending that favors white because black has more pawn weaknesses, the c5 pawn and these issues over here. That said, you know, it's very close to equal, and Hikaru also about a minute up on the clock. So that's kind of the stuff he does really well. One of the many things, right? Because when you're up on the clock, it's hard for your opponent to put you away. Though after the move rook d7, I wonder if he's sort of offering a draw. Oh, June Belayev wants more. Rook a6 is going to be met by rook c7, though. That threatens rook to c6. I don't think Hikaru wants to allow that. So oh, whoa, c4. A sacrifice of the c4. What a creative way to defend. This is why he's Hikaru and I'm not. This finds a way, if you're just evaluating the position from a few moves ago, horribly weak pawn versus completely healthy pawn, right? Now they're both off the board. It's a huge victory for black, just positionally, right? To eliminate that weakness now, and you see the computer agrees with it, right? You're back to a deadlocked equal ending rather than one that favors white because of that transition. So very creatively done for black, and now the fact that Hikaru's up on time makes a huge difference. Starting to become one where you fear. Apparently, I have a speech impediment. You feel for your life. Today, if you're Jumbo, you feel for your life. You fear for your life if you're Jumbo playing Hikaru in any kind of rook endgame time scramble. All right. Speaking of time scrambles, we're going to let Hikaru finish this one. I want to go over to Krikor's game with the one and only Shakhriyar Mamedyarov. Krikor is on the grind. Does he have a win? Rook takes e2. There had to have been something better. Krikor is on the attack as white, but he must have just missed something huge. And now he's no longer really converting on this one. We're heading to an obstacle bishop ending with bishop on bishop action here. I wonder what was the winning idea here for white. Kind of hard to see because you're looking at f7, but the rook guards it. Not really sure what Krikor missed. This is I mean, I would have played rook takes e2. The only thing you can do is try to bring the queen back to guard h4. Ooh, that's actually maybe the idea. You guard h4 and hit e5, and maybe this is the problem. All right. Well, hard to hold it against Krikor, except he's going to lose, so we're going to have to hold it against him. How did that happen? OMGs or snaps, and he is shaking his head. Here comes queen f2 check, followed by queen e3, and then queen to b3, I believe, is going to be mate. Queen to b3. Okay, rook b2 also does it. Wow, what a painful turnaround, man. Oh, sorry, Krikor. Hate to catch you on camera there, but I do think it was queen g5. I think queen g5 was winning. And how do you deal with e5? It's actually a really good position for Krikor. Wow. Well, I spied the position in the corner of my eye, and I was like, Krikor might get a victory there. Unfortunately, the opposite happens. Hikaru Nakamura does ultimately draw his game, so he is no longer perfect. He has a 4.5 out of 5 score, still pretty good. Alexandra Kostyniuk has just drawn her game. It was one of the last ones still going. Let's take a look at who else we got. We got the Penguin GM, known as Andrew Tang, taking on Grandmaster Dretch, who is Conrad Holt. Conrad Holt is up a rook, and that's pretty good. So, yeah, now knight c5 just traps. Okay, knight c5 probably would have been better, but this works as well, because rook to b8 is mate. What a creative way there. Knight to b4. You know what he was going for. Oh, wait, no. No. Yeah, no. Conrad Holt wins, but Tang was trying to stalemate him. Knight to b4. If rook takes b4, it would have been stalemate. That would have been... Then we would have known the commentator's curse was real, but knight takes b4 is played instead. Conrad Holt releases the king, so there is no stalemate, and ultimately wins the game. So, Andrew Tang goes down. We've still got several other games rolling on here in round 5. How's the young Gukesh doing? One of the youngest grandmasters in the world. Here taking on the black pieces, and should be better to go with it. If we're flipping around, look at it from white's point of view. Wait, what? Gukesh just lost on time? Maybe he had a poor connection. Wow, what a weird way to finish. I mean, that was weird. He played a2, which first of all was already kind of bad. He just gave up the pawn. So clearly there was something going on here. Maybe Gukesh not rocking the most stable connection. I don't think that the talented grandmaster makes a habit of losing on time, but something clearly went wrong there. Okay. Last game still going on in this round is a rook ending that should be better for black. If the king can... No, he doesn't choose that path. He brings the king around this way. This isn't bad either, because you can give up the f5 pawn and reach the d3 square. This is very scary for white. Should be a draw, but black is going to make it tricky. You could have taken with the king there and then hit on f2 after the rook checked. He doesn't. Now white should be fine. Rook a3 check forces the king back. Draw. Nietzsche. So not the best technique there. Rook c3. The king pawn ending is winning for black, so you can't trade. That's huge. Now black has put himself in a position with some winning chances. In fact, maybe it just is winning now, because the rook is not on the ideal square, right? Here comes the... Okay, you can't go king e2 right away because the rook stayed on the 4th rank, but this is going to be a win. So shout out to Dur Bailey, who converts on what probably should have been a drawn ending, but finds a way to make it just tricky enough that white not able to hold. And now even in addition to, whatever was going on the clock, black is just winning there with the e-pawn. So, okay. Huge victory there. Round 6 is underway. Still a ton of big names in terms of those competing for the top score. A who's who's list of a lot of players who we see on Chess.com. Raunak Sadwani, young talented player, still on 5 of 5. Danil Dubov is maybe the most recognizable name right there. But a ton of players also on 4.5 out of 5, including right there, you spy, tied for 18th. The top two of the top American grandmasters, Hikaru Nakamura and Fabiano Caruana. So, a lot of chess still up ahead. We got a busy day for you. So, 6,000 of you with us. Don't go anywhere else. We still have a lot up ahead. So, we still have a lot of people streaming too. Trying to follow one of the other players streaming, and we'll give him a quick shout out. International Master Hans Niemann, rocking his channel over on Twitch. Let's get Hans on camera. Oop, nope, he just stepped up, so maybe we won't get Hans on camera. This will be fun. The Hans cam is live, and you never know what you're going to see with the Hans cam, right? Expect the unexpected, I like to say. Or is that what Gandalf told the hobbits? The unexpected journey. The Hobbit. The Hobbit. An Unexpected Journey. I know my Tolkien. I may have read the Silmarillion back in my day. Okay. All right. There we go. LOTR nerds strike back. Revenge of Saruman's childhood. All right. Hans Niemann is playing the white pieces versus international master Salman Khanen and Semen Khanen. But on the clock here, it's a little awkward because you'd like to play c3, but maybe black strikes with f5. I think, to me, c3 is kind of a no-brainer. I'm not exactly sure what Hans is thinking about. Well, he plays a3. Okay, now he's going to have to bring back the bishop. Is he really? So he trades. He wins a pawn. The problem is that you give black the bishop pair. I don't know. I don't know that this is the approach I would have taken. Obviously, white is up a healthy Peshka, so maybe that's enough for him to claim an advantage. And Hans certainly thinks so. What is he doing now? Putting a sock on his microphone? Is that a fan or a microphone? It's a microphone. That's weird. All right. Apparently his mic is wet. That's awkward. I'm going to leave that one alone. All right. Where else to go? Let's check out Alireza Firouzja's game versus Jumbo, because Jumbo just drew Hikaru Nakamura in the last game and looks to be in a great spot here with the black pieces versus Firouzja. Would be quite the day for Jumbolev if he could continue to put up the results against guys like Nakamura and Firouzja. Black has a great position here. I mean, you've got the two bishops spying the white's king position here on the queen side. Okay, you could even play g4. I kind of like g4. Okay, he plays h6. Maybe g4 was even better. Even now, you could play g4 and h5. I wonder why he doesn't choose to close it up. Plays a5 and is still in a position with all the cards, right? When you've got this kind of pressure, at some point the queen will join the party. a4 is kind of making sure these weaknesses sit tight so that not only is there no more b3 square, but you also have b5, b4 in some positions because you've kind of anchored down this pawn, right, as a place that you can gang up on. I still think g4 and h5 to just shut down the studio over here is something black should be considering, but he's not doing it. To me, the only way that Firouzja gets counterplay is at some point you get the knight into f5, maybe you open up the h file. I don't know. Seems like something I would do is close down the king side so you could focus over here. But okay, still a very tough position for Firouzja. Jumbolev bringing the heat. You have b5 and b4 coming. Ooh, actually you have queen e6. That's awkward. That was threatening mate. Not the most active square for a queen is b1. So many options. Again, I still like g4. Yeah, just got to check. Yeah, the computer thinks it's good. I mean, g4 and h5. I mean, black is still in control. So I would do something like that. Just check. Wow, f5. He's going to open up both sides of the board. But here comes that knight into f5. Not the, I don't know, just not the most technical approach here for Jumbolev when you had a lot of, you were holding all the cards and you've let Firouzja sort of slowly get his pieces off the back rank and onto an outpost square. So, all right. Well, I don't think that was the best technique. There are also a lot of other games going, a lot of other places we can go. Now g4 comes in, finally. g4 and h5. There we go. Now I like black's position again a lot. This is really tough. We'll keep an eye on it. I'm going to flip back over to Hikaru's game as we get set up here. Check in with some more streamers. Hikaru with the white pieces in a much better spot. Another streamer that we've seen competing. Actually, she had a match yesterday versus, I think it was Jennifer Yu is Dina Belenkaya. Also, member of the Chess.com streaming family. Go and check her out over at twitch.tv/Dina Belenkaya. Give her a follow. She was playing a match yesterday. I believe she did pretty well against Jennifer Yu, at least when I was checking in there. They were on Chess TV for a while. Women's Grandmaster from Russia. She looks like she's in a bit of trouble here, though. The d-pawn is dirty. Now, this is a fun trick. Try to skewer your way toward winning back whatever piece ends up on d8. I think white can just play king d2, though. Beto Beaton could also play knight d5. Yeah, this blocks the rooks. Oh, but wait, does it blunt? No, that doesn't work. You have to play knight f3 check now. Yeah, but the king can just run. For a second, I thought it blundered the d-pawn, but no. King d2 was a tempo on the rook, so black could not afford to take the d-pawn. And finally, Dina, I think, is running out of options here. Sporting the Yankees hat, though, right? Shout out to baseball, which is never coming back, right? That's never going to happen again. Thank you, COVID-19. Shout out to the Yankees. Shout out to baseball. Was a sport. I believe if there's one sport that 2020 will actually kill, it could be baseball. I'm not kidding. And that's a whole nother discussion. All right, well, Dina goes down, but head over to twitch.tv/Dina Belenkaya and give her a follow. She's got a growing channel over there. All right. We've got a growing list of games we need to get to. I'm going to go check out, Vladislav Artemiev draws his game. It is in the books. What about Daniil Dubov? One of the only household names still on a perfect 5 of 5 score heading in. He's white here against young Azeri Grandmaster here. No, International Master. Okay, H-pawn allows bishop f4 check, though. Yeah, that was miscalculated. I think that Dubov's time is getting the best of him. Only a couple seconds for either player, but now king f4 should be good. Yeah, Black is actually playing fantastically here. I mean, not every day you outplay Daniil Dubov in an endgame where you were probably worse, right? At h4 just play. Whoa! What just happened here? Daniil Dubov goes down. No longer a tournament leader. The young Gautam Bailey takes him down, and that was a shakeup amongst the top of the standings right there. Gautam Bailey leapfrogs up to the 5th spot right before our very eyes. One of only, looks like 5 people left on a perfect 6 of 6. Conrad Holt, who we saw defeat Andrew Tang, the Penguin GM, earlier. One of the most recognizable names there. Dretch. You've got Haik Materiasan. Mickey Tarian is his username. So it looks like we have 5 people still on 6 of 6, and then a massive list of the big names on 5.5. Look at that. You've got Artemiev, who is the Siberian Elephant. You've got Fedoseev, Shakhriyar Mamedyarov, Vladislav Cavalia, Hikaru Nakamura, and others all sitting on 5.5 out of 6. By the way, looks like Jumbalayev did take down Firouzja there. Jumbo sitting on 5.5 out of 6. So a lot of action ahead. Remember, you don't have to win the main Swiss portion to win the whole thing. The top 8 players will move on into a knockout bracket, and that's where the final word will be had in terms of who wins the event when it's all said and done. MSB2 seems to make a habit of being one of the last games standing. I used to know his name. Now I only know his username. Sign that I'm getting old. Huh? What do you think? Either a sign that there's not enough coffee. Big Fish 1995 is Vladimir Fedoseev. Following you, chat. Ask your questions now while we're paying attention. PogChamps 2.0 is something we're working on. Hikaru and I were actually just discussing it the other day, and hopefully that's something that is a real thing with other streamers who would have loved to have played in the first one, right? A lot of people into streaming chess these days. Who knew? Anyway, look for updates on all kinds of stuff. Also, I don't even know, are we allowed to announce the Twitch Rivals thing? I don't know. I can? Okay, yeah. So there's a Twitch Rivals event on July 10th, which will be also 16 streamers from different variety types of streaming categories playing in an event that is a single-day event with $15,000 in prizes. It's going to be pretty awesome. I'll be doing commentary, I think, with Hikaru on July 10th. But that's actually hosted by the Twitch studios themselves, who put on Twitch Rivals on a regular basis. So it should be fun. It'll be the second time we've competed on Twitch Rivals for those who know the event. So check it out on July 10th. Stay tuned for more details coming out on that soon. But that's going to be the next kind of like a really fun event we have with non-household chess names, non-super grandmasters playing for some fun prizes. So look forward to that. All right, Hikaru with the white pieces here. Streaming, of course. Hardly need to give him a shout out. Twitch.tv/GM Hikaru. Go check him out. Give him a follow. Those of you watching on YouTube, you can also subscribe to youtube.com/GM Hikaru. He has a pretty awesome YouTube channel, too. All right. He also has a pretty good position here, I think. I like White's chances here in the sense that the positional, it's very solid for White. Okay, so the thing that would make me wrong is if somehow Black can hold the structure and actually get F5 and F4 going and somehow flip things over to the king side. I don't really think that's going to happen. So I think that the bishop pair combined with the super solid structure makes me like White's chances in this position long term. That D3 square, that's what's being spied. And so Hikaru says, no, thank you. Not going to let the knight hop in there. Here comes F5 as predicted, but I feel like Black should... Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, maybe Black's position is harder to break down than I thought. Felt like E4 was weak and the bishop pair would ultimately have a say, but this bishop is stuck as long as Black never changes that structure. Hashtag don't play C5, right? No reason to open that up. So the fact that you have a very close position and a knight is therefore no longer a real disadvantage, and he plays G5, wow. Look at this. Sankalp Gupta 2003 is all in with an attack against Hikaru. Whoa, this is going to be wild. Black is really bringing the heat. B5, interesting move. Mixing it up. Sankalp playing super fast here, too. Young international master from India is in a great position here as Black. F4. I don't know. I like it. Plays Rook H7. That's a natural move. Just bring more pieces over to that side of the board. But now, wait, you can even just take and bring the queen in. Yeah, Hikaru is in huge trouble here. This would be an upset for the event. This is a tough game for Hikaru. Not even sure where it went wrong. I guess I was suffering from Hikaru bias-itis. I thought White's position was fine earlier. But now he's in big trouble. How does Black finish the job, though? I guess White's idea is to run the king to safety over here on D2. If you give White another move, he might play like Rook to G1. Okay, F4 makes a lot of sense, though. Just bringing more open lines. White could also play Rook H1 to try to protect the H file, guard the H2 square, so you can hustle the king out of dodge. But this is just a great position for Black. I mean, F3 is coming here, which is a fork of the queen and bishop. So this is a tough game. Yeah, I don't know exactly what White does here to get himself out of this. Hikaru normally up on the clock here knows he needs to think his way out of this one, but here comes queen takes F4, and after the king moves, it feels like Black is a knockout blow away from this game being over. I don't see it, but you'd think it should be there. Hikaru going to try to get the queens off the board, defending really resourcefully right now and playing quickly. If the queens come off, White is in much better shape, right? Just from a practical perspective that you're probably not getting mated in a moment's notice. But clearly Black misplayed it. So Hikaru has defended super resourcefully. At some point the computer was announcing what looked like to be like, you know, mates. And now the position has already crept back where White clearly has some practical chances here. If the queens come off the board and the rook comes down, maybe White has chances to hold the endgame. Still down a couple of pawns, or sorry, just one pawn. Black has 3, White has 2. But if you don't convert on this one, if you're Sankalp, you're definitely kicking yourself. Not every day you get a chance to beat Hikaru Nakamura, and Black probably had his chance, but he didn't. We see Hikaru kind of shaking his head, knows this is not his best one, but he also knows he's I think he knows he's gotten himself kind of back in it a little bit. And now if black blunders, if black moves the queen and this queen were not pinned to the king, look out for queen f8. So, wow, what a crazy turnaround this would be. Hikaru looking a lot happier than he was a minute ago. Kind of, that's not the everyday Hikaru Nakamura catalog right there. I know 30 faces of Hikaru Nakamura. That is not one you see every day. Only 27 seconds. So this is one of those games where black probably, if black was going to win, he probably had to do it earlier. Clearly he let it get away, and I wouldn't be surprised if Hikaru swindles his way back into this one here. He defended the attack resourcefully, and if I could read lips, I'd predict what he's saying, but I can't. Bishop takes e4 is a threat, along with rook takes a7. I think this game might end up in a draw now. Although what's irritating is that this e-pawn is actually still very, very strong. e3, if the king has to come back, rook h2. So white is not out of the woods yet. He takes a7, goes right back, wants to get some tickling in, some checks. Bishop c1 check, yeah, he finds it. But black's still better, right? Up a pawn. The real issue for Gupta is the time. But remember, the increment is like the great equalizer, right? The increment creates scenarios where, you know, players who normally you would obviously greatly favor someone like Hikaru with a 30-second to 10-second time advantage. But with the increment, it's not always the case, right? Players can still, you know, have the time to convert on good chess positions. Chess comes first when you have increment, so to speak. It's not just flagging. If you take, watch out for bishop b2. Wow. This is crazy. Hikaru kind of fighting for his chance to win this event, right? I mean, you really don't want to lose this game. You can't lose this game, I think, and still have chances to come back and qualify for the top 8. So this is a whoa. He's about to rook h6 check wins the piece. Oh my gosh! Whoa, Hikaru missed it. Rook h6 won the piece. The knight was pinned. Whoa. I think not every day that happens, but I think Hikaru just missed his chance to put the game away. He still had... Rook h6 is mate! Rook h6 was mate in 1. They don't have any time. Neither player has any time. Hikaru missed rook h6, which was mate in 1. White is probably still going to win this because... Oh, rook g5 blunder. But oh my god, what a crazy finish there. It's just... Rook h6 was mate with the bishop guarding the g8 square. Okay, ultimately, the fact that Hikaru won that game is kind of mind-blowing, knowing the position that you were looking at earlier, but that's what happens when you defend resourcefully. Crazy game, and again, probably that was a must-win game if Hikaru was going to stay in the hunt here to have his first chance. Since the SCC Grand Prix started, Hikaru has yet to qualify for the top 8, and you know he wants it, so that was a huge win. We see him keep pace with the leaders right there at 6.5 out of 7. Infernal Yam is the guy that people need to slow down. Is it Yam or XAM? I could go for some yams. By the way, Alireza Firouzja goes down. A tough day for the kid to want to be 2,700. I also want to be 2,700. Let's check on... speaking of young, talented players from India, one who just gave Hikaru Nakamura a run for his money. Another one known as Pragnandana. Pragnandana, make him say, Look at that, Pragnandana, that's checkmate. So, Prague Chess competed in our Junior Speed Chess Championship last year. He gets a huge victory. And we have a few more games still going here in round 7. No, we do not. They have all just finished. And round 7 finishes with it. Sad Danny. I'm not sad. But I do appreciate that. Slasher 2111. I'm not sad because we still got 3 more rounds of the main event here, the Swiss portion of our SCC Grand Prix before we qualify the top 8 players into a knockout. So don't go anywhere. We take our second fair play break of the day. Make sure that we have everyone being proctored and that we feel good about the chess to this point. Shout out to the team working hard behind the scenes. Don't go anywhere. The SCC Grand Prix continues in just a couple minutes. And we are back here yet again after our second Fair Play break of the day. What are we doing behind the scenes when we talk about Fair Play? Well, without diving into all the weeds of the algorithm, we'll remind you what the team is doing at least. They are proctoring in real time. We have 9 full-time staff. Actually, we have even more now, so we won't even, we'll update that image soon, but we're constantly expanding. We have all kinds of Fair Play specialists, from statisticians to cheat detectives, working hard. The Fair Play team during events is often bringing people into camera, requiring screen share, requiring 360 observations of the rooms, along with the algorithms that are doing the heavy lifting as well. We also work with other agencies that proctor people for cheating in esports, and we're constantly trying to learn and stay on the cutting edge of that stuff so that we can continue to invest, right? Putting what we do into these events is something that we're proud of, and we hope to continue to do, right? Even before, right, COVID-19 and the world of over-the-board chess kind of coming to a screeching halt. We already had online events, a lot of cash prizes, but that's only going to continue to grow and create opportunities for chess professionals and content for all of us fans. So as we do that, we also work super hard on cheat detection. So we've got Prognanundas. Shout out to YouTube, who was calling me out. I was referencing the Biggie Smalls song, Prognanda. Anyway, it's Prognanunda. I'm aware of that. Prognanunda checkmated his opponent in fantastic fashion. And now we've got Infernal Yam, who is Pavel Pankratov. Those of you asking in chat. Very strong grandmaster from Russia. Actually, someone who competed for the Wizards in the Pro Chess League. You see that little icon right there? That's a little wizard over a crystal ball there. Pretty cool. He's still sporting his Pro Chess League team's flair. Infernal Yam now gets Hikaru Nakamura. That's always a treat. But Pankratov is the only person on 7 of 7, as you can see right there, right? Then we've got a very large group of people at 6.5 out of 7, a lot of household names. Prognanunda down there at 17th place with that checkmate we showed, along with Oparin Grigori, the good doctor, Dr. Bassem Amin, and many others. So shout out to everybody that's here, and everyone who said I couldn't say Prognanunda right. All right, this is going to be fun. This is a King's Indian full of theory. Hikaru is going to be all in on the idea that I can make my pawn storm faster than anything white can do. This is chess at its finest, right? You've got a checkmate attack against the white king, while white is just positionally crushing on the other side of the board. Pankratov plays c5, right as I highlighted. I expect f3 at some point, which both stabilizes e4 and helps guard g4. And then white will start doing things like knight c4, b5, and b6. You're just trying to blow open the queenside. Whoa, c6. Interesting. So that's a different way to launch the pawn storm. You see even Hikaru kind of gives pause there. Because the reason is when you take away the pressure on the dark square pawns, that's normally where white is focused, because that's the easiest place to bring in more pressure. Knight on c4, knight on b5, they all gang up on these pawns. So when you give up on that dream, you're hoping that black helps you. And so by taking, black has created the d5 square, but it's a different type of attack now that white has, right? Not blow open the c-file kind of approach. A more positional one on the light squares. Knight f3, an interesting move. He's trying to simplify. He's going to take with the bishop now, and then maybe put the knight on d5. He's trying to simplify the attack, right? So Pankratov's approach here is to kind of liquefy the pressure by trading the knights and then having a long-term kind of grip on the light squares. He's trying to make Hikaru's life difficult in a different kind of way, right? A more positional grip kind of way. So indeed, he goes for knight d5. This is interesting. Interesting stuff. Hikaru gives the Hikaru number 7 kind of head nod there, right? White's a little bit better in almost all these King's Indians for a while, because the space advantage is real, and eventually that can become pressure on the queen side. Black's long-term play is always based on, can I blow things open against the white king? But I actually like Pankratov's approach, I gotta be honest, even from a practical point of view against Hikaru, just because I don't want to get checkmated when I'm facing Nakamura. By trading pieces, that's less likely, and now he can even put this bishop on g4 and really go to town in terms of simplifying the pieces and controlling the light squares. So maybe not the best tool to win. Maybe Hikaru will be able to hold, despite being worse as black. But I think that Pankratov is in a decent position to not lose to the checkmate attack. But he goes b5. Now he's all in. He wants b6. Give him one more move, and he's playing b6. So Hikaru says, no, thank you, Dan. Not going to give him one more move. I'll take that pawn. Now bishop g4. I don't know that this makes as much sense. I think Pankratov maybe tried to have his cake and eat it too. Maybe should have played bishop g4 and kept with the positional approach, because now Hikaru can take, and white has to waste time gathering the b-pawn. I guess white is still better. And the biggest problem for black long term is this guy. Take a look. Take a look at that problem, right? That's a problem. It's a big old Frankenpawn. Unless black can change the structure and create space, this bishop is one of the main reasons white will maintain an advantage in these pawn structures, because the white counterpart is just a much more active piece. Interesting choice by Hikaru to keep the pawn on b5. What a weird position. Of course, there are a lot of other top players playing. You see the list of who's who there to the left of the board. The standings have so many of the world's top grandmasters. Grandmaster Big Fish 1995 is Vladimir Fedoseev. He actually currently leads the Speed Chess Grand Prix as of this moment. The SCC Grand Prix happens every Tuesday right here on Chess.com. So hit that follow button. Give us a sub if you're over on YouTube. And make it a regular habit every Tuesday. Apparently, Fedoseev is not streaming today. Normally, the Big Fish does stream. We see that bookcase behind him. But Big Vlad is not streaming today. Okay, interesting. Black is definitely a little bit worse, but it's hard for Pankratov to make any kind of pressure. Queen d1 was designed to stop h5, by the way. That's the idea. He's trying to stop black from expanding with h5 and g4. Bishop f8 is an interesting idea. Watch out for d5. That would be a tactical shot, right? You offer the trade of the bishops and try to fix your biggest problem, which has been your bad bishop here, locked behind the dark square. So white trying to just keep the grip, right? Try to control the breakthroughs with the space advantage you have. Not allowing h5 and g4, not allowing d5. As long as white can do that, he holds the cards just a teeny bit here. What is Hikaru doing? Putting on his running shoes? Where are you going, Forrest? Where are you going? Where are you running to? Ooh, queen f7 comes back to threatening h5. That might force the queen back to d1. No, okay, wait. The bishop is blocked. Oh my gosh, I have got to wake up today. I thought he blundered his queen. Nobody clip that, please. That was the worst. Oh my god, what is wrong with me? My wife yells at me all the time when people like drop forks and stuff. I do that. I'm literally suffering from PTSD. Like I have no control over my emotional outburst. That was crazy. Clip and shame. Live stream fail. That was ridiculous. I just fell out of my chair over a queen loss that didn't happen. Wowzers. Any hooters. Okay, back to reality where white still holds the cards. Queen e2 is not a blunder. Queen d1, it was what I was expecting, and it does kind of inch its way into g4. Maybe. This is a weird position. Pankratov only has 25 seconds, but he also doesn't really have any way to lose the game if he just wants to sit tight, right? If he just wants to sit tight, ooh, he wants more. He wants the b5 pawn, but he's allowing h5 in the process. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. This is not what I would do. You go for the queenside pawn, but you allow Hikaru to do what he does best, which is launch checkmate attacks in the King's Indian. I don't know who the best player is in the black side of the King's Indian since Garry Kasparov. There's no way you can deny that the GOAT, Garry Kasparov, is the greatest King's Indian attacker of all time, winning some incredible games. But by the way, so I don't know who the best is after Kasparov, but Hikaru could probably make a case. He has won so many games on the black side of the King's Indian, and now he's up a piece, although wait a second. Position is getting messy. Somebody misplayed this. I don't know what's going on here. c4, he wants g3. e5, but here comes rook g6. Now the queen has run out of space. The rook is hanging and g3 is coming. Okay, don't take the rook because that would be mate. Instead, you play g3. Hikaru doesn't need me to remind him. Now he brings the queen out, and I think it's over. Hikaru is on the grind. Rook takes e6 just allows mate and 1 on d1. Oh my gosh, Hikaru gives a deep breath. What a crazy turnaround game, and I think it all really unraveled for Pankratov when he made the decision to leave the kingside blockade behind, right? White, like I said, despite 25 seconds, this is the position I was saying, the Pankratov held all the cards. There was no way currently for black to expand, as long as white held on to the breakthrough squares. The moment he committed to the queen side and gave Hikaru the breakthrough was the moment I was like, uh-oh, wait a second. And even with the back and forth that was, maybe Pankratov had other chances, you felt like this was already going to be Hikaru's game to win. And like I said, I don't know if Hikaru could claim to be the best King's Indian player, a King's Indian attacker since Garry Kasparov, but he's definitely on the short list of people that know how to play those positions very well. Okay, well, as we look at the standings, we still see a lot of household names. I brought up Dmitry Andreikin's game here versus Joshua Kolis, international master from the US of A. Joshua Kidd holds a draw against Tu Vladimirovich, so a good result there for the young Joshua Kolis. Oparin Grigori taking on Progna. I know what you're thinking. Dan, go back to Progna. Nah. Make him say, Progna. Anyway, the point is this should be a draw, a knight endgame without a ton. Oh, not anymore. Maybe there's the king making progress. Can you play knight f8, knight e6 check? That didn't go well. Gotta be a draw now. Nothing to it besides bring the knight back over, sacrifice it for the g-pawn, and call it a day. You could even trade here. Easily drawn king and pawn ending. And as long as you keep your king directly in front of the pawn, we have stalemate, and the players give us just that. So, Oparin Grigori agrees on the draw with Progna, and we move on. So that might have been the last game going in this round of the big names, right? The big names in the event. We take a peek over at the standings where Hikaru Nakamura and Vladimir Fedoseev are destined for a showdown here. On 7.5 out of 8. Hikaru, I think, gets the white pieces though because he just won with the King's Indian. So this is gonna be wild. We're gonna start seeing the big names facing off in every round from here on out. So if you're just tuning in, lucky for you, the action is still ahead. We've got a lot of people coming up. So don't go anywhere. All right. This is round 8. There is only one game still going. It's a Rook ending. Big surprise. One that should be a draw, short of someone giving us a blunderful thing. Blunderful. This is not blunderful. This is just boring. So, okay, let's remind everybody of what the season leaders are, right? One of the reasons it's important is not just because Vladimir Fedoseev is leading today's event and leading the season, but a lot of the other players there are also still in the hunt, right? We checked on Tu Vladimirovich's game. That's Dmitry Andreikin in 4th place. Sib Elephant is Vladislav Artemyev. So lots of players playing in this event. Parham Magsulu, I believe, is still within striking distance, not in the top 20 actually as it stands, but generally finishing well. We'll see how he can do in the last couple rounds of the Swiss here, but really, Fedoseev, that guy at 39.5 points, now has his work cut out for him to not just stay at pace with this event, but also hopefully continue to prove himself the man to beat here in the Grand Prix. That would be definitely a success story, because the funny thing about Fedoseev is we can just say, like, he's not someone who has ever gotten a direct invite into the SCC, right? The $100,000 16-player knockout that'll take place at the end of this year. He probably wouldn't be someone who got a wild card invite. Just going to be totally honest, right? There's a lot of incredible players in the world, but his consistent performance in this event may indeed get him into a tournament that he doesn't always get in. So there we have it. We've got, as Jake says over there on YouTube, Big Fish versus Hikaru. Let's do it, right? Big one right here. A Roy Lopez structure from a Sicilian. What was it? I wasn't paying attention. It was C3 Sicilian, likely? Some kind of Alpin. Okay, yeah, it was a Rossalimo structure, Rossalimo move order, but eventually you get the C3, where you go for D4. And so if you take a snapshot of White's pieces in this line, it's almost exactly where you would see all pieces for White in a Ruy Lopez, right, in a Spanish game, which is why I said that. Now the structure has changed. It's awkward. White has the D5 square. Don't mind if I do. Black has the D4 square. One of the reasons White's a little bit better is that White's path to D5 is much more straightforward. Knight C3, Knight D5. I can also eliminate this knight that protects the square. How do you get a piece on D4 if you're black? That's the question, right? This knight has a much longer journey. In fact, we always talk about a straight diagonal is actually the farthest for a knight to be able to reach. So Fedoseev gives up on d4 and instead goes for f4. That makes sense, because if you go to f4 and we trade, at the very least, black gets to open up the beast on g7. So Hikaru says, no, thank you. Not going to allow the knight to f4. The double-edgedness of that, though, is you're weakening the king, and here comes f5. You still have to like white, though. This is a position that the moment the structure changed and the d file became accessible for white, you knew that the first player would be in control. From a practical perspective, f5 makes sense. Black is going to try to go all in here. f4, and try to bring everybody you can to the king side for a party. I think just knight c3, knight d5 makes sense. Ooh, he takes it. Interesting. He's pointing out that the pawn can't take. That's the key thing. The knight would fall. And because of that, if a piece captures back on f5, you've kind of ruined the pawn storm. That's actually a well-timed move by Hikaru. Again, I feel like I learn things every day, right? Again, knight c3 I think was also enough for an advantage, but taking f5 is really irritating for Fedoseev. Because you want to keep the pawns together so you can keep advancing the pawn storm, but you're not able to do so here. So whatever piece he chooses back to take with is some form of poison, right? If you take with the bishop, you're getting developed, but you've ruined the structure. You split the pawns, and here comes knight c3, right? He moves it before I can highlight it. Knight c3 will head into d5. The bishop can come to e3, which defends f2 against the battery and hits the c5 pawn. Hikaru looking confident, providing commentary over there for his fans. Twitch.tv/GM Hikaru. You can check it out. So, Hikaru has now simplified. The light square bishops have been traded. Interesting decision. I guess Hikaru did that because he just didn't like the bishop on a4, felt out of play, but kind of because I feel like the thing I liked most about the transition before was that he broke the pawns. I actually don't know if this idea by Hikaru was the cleanest, right? He kind of brings this pawn back to f5, and now the pawn storm is back on for Fedoseev. So, an interesting decision. I think this one has a lot more work ahead now because of the pawn structure being fixed for the big fish. So, if you're just tuning in, why is this game important? Look at that. You've got Hikaru versus Fedoseev tied for first at 7.5 out of 8, so it doesn't get any bigger than this. Normally, we might be doing a little bit of bounce back and forth here. Fedoseev often streams. He's also a member of the greater Chess.com streaming family, but he's not streaming today. Don't know why. All right, Hikaru up 30 seconds on the clock, but I think Black's chances are better than they were before. If you can find a way to so how do you advance? At some point, you might just have to fix the knight. Like, the knight is not doing anything anymore. Maybe you have to come back and... Oh, e4. Wowzer, wowzer. I like that move. That's a nice move. Hikaru's thinking... Yeah, I could read it. He was thinking about g4 there. Fedoseev streams in Russian. I do not believe Fedoseev streams in English. I've been wrong before, like 3 times in my life. So maybe this is the 4th. I don't know. Just kidding. Don't tell my wife I said that. Don't tell her I said that. g4. Queen to e3. That's a improved position now for white, because you can check and then trade, and the rook gets the 7th rank. Or could you really get away with this? Wow, that would be a move. Because I thought you could check, trade, and then be better like in the rook ending. But I wonder if you can get away with c5, because if queen c5, knight g4, does that not open the g file for white? I wonder what Hikaru is thinking about. You also have queen c3, which pins the knight to the king and maybe threatens g5. Hikaru goes for it. Wow, what a move. I wasn't sure he could get so greedy, but the computer likes white. Okay. Uh-oh. This is risk it to get the biscuit kind of chess. Rook takes g4, followed by rook g1, wins the queen. He sees it. Hikaru's going to go on to win. I wonder if Fedoseev will under that. Hikaru does the same thing I did. He's like, right? I'll do it, right? Well, that's going to see Hikaru move to clear first on 8.5 out of 9. We see that Gautam Bailey has also won his game, so he's on 8 out of 9. The youngster from Azerbaijan, one of the most talented up-and-comers in the world. Those of you looking at the International Master title there for Gambit Bailey, I'm pretty sure that's out of date. I'm pretty sure he's a Grandmaster now. Like I said, I've been wrong before, but that's a huge win for Hikaru. Takes down Fedoseev, the tournament leader. Let's go check on Vladislav Artemyev's game here, who's in third place, I believe, overall in the Grand Prix standings, or he's up there. So he's been one of the most consistent performers in the SCC Grand Prix, along with Fedoseev, who just lost to Hikaru. Taking on Zviad Azoria, former Israeli, now American Grandmaster. I believe he changed federations, but Zviad here a little bit worse. I'm gonna guess Artemyev finds a way to swindle this one. He'll take c5 next, and just the fact that he's got the pass pawn, right, makes you like White's chances. Tons of other games still going. Remember, you can head over to Chess.com, the live server, and follow them yourself. If any of our mods or those helping out in chat, staff members, can share a direct link to the tournament for people to click on, that would be greatly appreciated, so people can head over and check it out. Yeah, and if you're on the go, remember you can also watch on mobile. So all of our tournaments, including tournaments relayed over the board, from Over the Board Chess, when that happens, when Over the Board Chess returns, are on the phone. So go ahead and do that, whether you're on your Apple or Android device. All right. I'm spying on some of these other games. Nothing's really super interesting, and Artemyev still has a chance to qualify. Currently in the 11th place position, you can see there in the standings. So let's see if he can swindle this one. Okay, Rook H7, he's threatening to take, but Knight F7. Ooh, D5 check was maybe a move. No. LOL, Dan. Another live stream fail. Now D5's a move. Okay. No, he just takes F5. Also simple. The knight is so irritating here for black. Guards all the checks. He gets the H5 pawn, but it comes at a small price, I guess. Whoa, 95 check now, followed by Rook E7. This is getting tricky. The rook goes right back to E6. What does he want to do? He plays King C5. Interesting. I think it's going to be a draw now. So he runs away, but what? What's next? King to C3. Only 1 second. God, D6 is just blunder. Oh, Knight F7? No, but King D7 should just be a draw. Wow. What a hold by Azoria. I mean, I said I thought Artemyev gets the victory for good reason, right? Just look at their blitz ratings. The strength disparity is real. Artemyev, one of the best in the world. One of the best in the business. So shout out to Zviad Azoria for holding that game in the time scramble. That is not easy, living off the increment, but he does so. All right, well, we've still got some other players who were in this standing. Where is Dura Bailey? Who is not Bailey, but Dura Bailey taking on Pavel. That's a consonant that I'm having trouble with. Shkapenko? Pavel Shkapenko. We'll do it. Pavel Shkapenko is only an international master, but he's holding his own right now versus Dura Bailey. This is a fun one when you've got a lot of pawns. It should be a win for White, but one of those pawns is about to fall, and he's just made his life a lot harder. Dura Bailey has his work cut out for him. Should still be winning. 2 pawns does beat a king and knight, meaning it is a big enough advantage to convert in theory. But doing so is another question, and we'll see what technique we can learn. I do stream from time to time, Risk One. You can go to twitch.tv/DanielWrench. I always want to stream more if that counts. So if you want to go subscribe to my own Twitch channel on the fact that I do want to stream, I'd appreciate that. You know, if that counts for anything. You know? All right, Dura Bailey finally converting despite losing that third pawn. Should be pretty straightforward from here. H7 looks good enough. Move the king to a non-checkable square like F4, and just don't blunder now. That would have been funny if H8 queen was played. Knight takes G6 would have been a fork, and we do have an easy win here for Dura Bailey. Shkapenko, not today, man. Don't play Knight D6. Oh, that would have been another funny stalemate. LOL. Boy, do I love stalemates. All right, the king runs away, but not today, Junior. Not today. So We have a wrap-up here. And with round 9 in the books, we only have one more round to go. Hans Niemann taking on Hikaru Nakamura. Hans has been one of the best performing international masters in the Titled Tuesday of late. So this is one that'll be fun to check in on. We can probably be able to check in with both these guys at some point. They're both streaming. Hans obviously needs the game much more than Hikaru does. Most likely Hans at this point is in a good position to make the top 8, but it's possible, right? If Hans lost this game, Hikaru would finish on 9.5 out of 10, which would be crazy. But he might also bump Hans out of the knockout. Remember, the event is not over with this final round. The top 8 players will move on. They will join us on camera, and they will move on to the knockout portion of the event. So Hikaru, I think, has pretty much clinched that he will be playing in his first knockout since we converted the Title Tuesday happening every Tuesday into the SCC Grand Prix. So exciting day for Hikaru, but many others will probably get our focus here as well, just because they have even more to fight for. So we'll keep an eye on this one. Who else do we have? We've got Gautam Bailey. We've got Artemiev, who we just showed. Fedoseev now in a really tough spot. There's Parham Magsudlu in 11th place, right? Like I said, he's usually there by the end. Hans is, I feel like he's getting a little bit of a lesson here in this Catalan. I don't know. Just looking at the position, looking at Hans's hairdo, looking at his inability to figure out where he wants his microphone. I don't know what Hans is more worried about. Facing Hikaru Nakamura in the Catalan, or what's going on with the mic position there. All right, knight d5 played by Hikaru, giving up on the bind. I kind of like Black's position here, holding everything down. Sometimes there's even shots like g5 in these positions where the bishop is out of play. But okay, we'll take Hikaru's word for the fact that he knows how to play these positions. You take back here, and you can try to go after the bishop here. No, he takes with the pawn. Interesting. Right? He's saying he wants the bind. He's got the grip on the light squares. He's actually threatening the a4 pawn. Kind of awkward. But yeah. So now the plan for white is the struggle. Right? If you're Hans, how irritated are you right now, right? You've had a great event. You're 8 out of 9. And you would have probably rather have played anybody in the last round. Right? Because if you lose this game, like, you're probably not qualifying. And Hikaru is not the kind of guy who gives mercy draws, even if you're a friend, you know. And I know they're friendly, and I know that Hikaru has spoken well. I mean, Hans is a super talented kid. He's one of the best puzzle solvers in the world, if you didn't know that. Which is not always something that's the case for international and grandmasters. Puzzle solving can be a very specific niche kind of skill. So but Hikaru is not the kind of guy that gives like, I think I'll just take it easy on the kid, plus a draw clinches that I get first anyway. That's not what Hikaru does. H4, okay. This is awkward tension here, right? Because Black would like to trade in order to free the d5 square, but doing so brings the bishop here, and you have a battery. So instead, Hikaru doesn't do it. He goes pawn grabbing, grabs a4, and his hope would be to probably just bring the bishop right back to b3 and then play a4. Maybe white should have played b3 on that note. Because now if I'm Black, I have both bishop b4 with tempo and then bishop b3, or I can just play bishop b3 right away, right back to the square I was on, and then use my extra pawn to anchor in the strong beast on b3. I like Black's position here. And this is not the Catalan you want every day, right? With the closed structure. That's usually the opposite of what white wants in the Catalan. So we'll see what Hikaru comes up with. I'm checking on the other games. Infernal Yam was the guy that Hikaru took down. Pankratov doesn't look like he's going to be in a position anymore. Despite being 7 out of 7, if you're just joining us, now in 17th place on 7 out of 9. So it'll be interesting to see. We got a lot of new names, too. You've got Sunclap Gupta. You've got Gautam Bailey. You've got Young KID. I don't even know who that is. Young Kid. So a lot of new names potentially in position to qualify here for the knockout. Interesting stuff. Should be exciting and to see new names joining big names. Wonderful Tyne. That guy. We know who that is. Min Lee. International master from Vietnam. Okay. Hans Niemann has gotten himself back within striking distance. Feels like going to be a tough position for Black. And by the way, Hikaru only has 40 seconds. Hans is a fast player. So this is going to be tricky. Young Kid is Grandmaster Karthikeyan, I'm told. Yeah, there were a lot of big names earlier in the day, too. Fabiano Caruana competing in the event is still right there, and he just leapfrogged. People saying in chat didn't realize Fabiano was playing, but he puts himself in possible position. I'm going to guess that his tie breaks won't be good enough. Looks like there's too many people that could leapfrog Fabiano. So not a bad day for Caruana, but probably not good enough to move on to the top 8. Okay, this position getting wild, getting scrambly. Niemann wins back the pawn by taking a5. But Black seems to have coordinated. You got to watch out for things like Queen h3 on the agenda here. Can White? I thought White maybe could have taken, play d5. Maybe not. Interesting idea. Black can also play for f5 and f4. Okay, f3 is played, which makes sense to kick back the knight, but again, comes at a cost, right? White's king is slowly becoming more and more of an issue. Commits to g4. Maybe that's not so bad. Maybe that's actually not what Black wanted. But either way, we're going to get a time scramble. And these are positions where usually Hikaru pays the bills. But Hans Niemann, one of the fastest players, in terms of pure mouse speed. So he can compete with Hikaru there. Is the position holdable, though? d4 is weak. How does Black bring pressure to it? I do not know. Wow, b3 is weak. That was interesting. By the way, the pawn couldn't push because the bishop would take it. That was a surprising shot. Now knight takes f6 would not be what you want to do, but you might have to because d4 is falling. Right? So instead, he gives up the pawn. And now the time scramble is on. Hans Niemann only down 4 seconds. Again, you can go to twitch.tv/IamHansNiemann. Remember that we will be moving on to the knockout portion after this stage. So the top 8, as they will finish, are sort of filling out over there on the left side of your screen. But it looks like Hikaru is maybe going to take this one. Knight c1 check now is a problem. Owie, owie. The knight can even go to e2 and g1, complete the journey, and f3 is a problem. A little bit of tickle there from Hikaru. If king b4, knight to d3 wins on the spot. So instead, he hangs the knight, and ouch. Poor Hans. He's going down here to Hikaru. Yeah, I don't think he's saying words I can repeat right now. Hans is obviously frustrated. Poor guy. He goes down and with it loses his chances to qualify in to the next round, the top 8. So with that, all the games I believe have finished here. No, there's still a couple games still going here. Not that game. That game was just a random blitz game being played by someone. But we still have a few more games going. I don't know that any of them can greatly affect the standings. So we will do our review. Again, all players required to join us on camera and screen share. And we will be getting in touch with all of those players here very soon. But the knockout portion will begin, and we will. I don't think any of the standings can really change there. I think that's probably what we're looking at, assuming everything checks out. We are going to be joined by a nice combination of some big names, some household names, combined with some new faces. So we have the knockout portion ahead here. The SCC Grand Prix continues. We got one game going with a big name. We'll check in. We'll let Bortnick take us home here with Black, King and Rook versus King and Knight before we take our last break of the day, get the players on camera, and then we finish this thing off knockout style. So don't go anywhere. We still have lots of action ahead. More viewers now than we've had all day. More than 8,000 of you with us. Thanks for being here. So when we come back, we will be joined by the players on camera. We will set the stage for what the format begins. Don't go anywhere. The SCC Grand Prix here on June 30th continues in just a few moments. And we are back here with our knockout bracket. Getting set to continue here on this SCC Grand Prix. It is a Tuesday in the wide world of worldness, the wide world web, but also in the real world. So welcome in on this Tuesday. The Speed Chess Championship Grand Prix moves on from the Swiss portion into the 8-player knockout. And those are the matchups before you. We will have Nakamura versus Oparin Grigori. What a heavyweight matchup to start things off. Hike Materiasan will take on Parham Magsudlu. The left side, I feel, is a list of very well-known household names. And on the right side, we've got some newcomers to the knockout format. If I'm not incorrect, I think everybody is competing in their first knockout event. Grandmaster Kartikian versus Viad Izoria. And then we've got Sankab Gupta versus Eltaj Savarli. So this will be an interesting thing to start things off. Let's remind everybody of the format of what we're looking at here. After the conclusion of the Title Tuesday Blitz, which is what we just had, it is time for the 8-player knockout. The single game in the quarterfinals is what we have here. So it's just win or go home, literally. If it's a draw, we move to sudden death in a 1-0 game, and we play until someone wins. With the person who got white, therefore from being the higher seed, that's kind of the reward you get from having a great first portion through the first 10 rounds. You get to have white no matter how many games it takes, I believe. No, the higher seed gets white first, and if they drew again in the bullet, then and only then would the higher seed take black for the first time. When we get to the semifinals and the finals, it's 2-game mini matches, which are super exciting when you get to see the best players on the day have a little bit more of an opportunity to make their case that they're still the best player. 2 games, better than 1, at least for all of us. And ultimately, we will crown a champion. Let's remind everybody of what's at stake here, right? The Grand Prix points. First place wins 12 knockout points, which is huge at this point. Still early in the season. This is the 5th event out of what will be a total of 20 events in the SCC Grand Prix. So still anybody's chance to win the whole thing. Hikaru Nakamura playing in his first knockout portion since the SCC Grand Prix began. Second place, obviously, 8, and the semifinalist bonus is 4, quarterfinalists 2 points. So just for making the top 8, everyone's going home with a couple extra points. But they want more, and they also want cash. $1,000 for first, $500 for second, and on down the list. So remember, everybody, we also give away a top woman and top streamer prize. Those prizes are rewarded regardless of the knockout. Obviously, people streaming and the top female competitors can make the knockout portion, of course, and win more cash. But we also give a top woman's prize and a top streamer prize in every event. So doesn't always get the love it deserves, but shout out to that. Hikaru Nakamura, arguably the top streamer because he's the #1 seed through the portion and also streaming. But those are the Grand Prix points in total as they stand. Kavalyev, Artemyev, and Fenoseyev are 3 guys who are leading the season but didn't qualify their way in, right? The only guy there well, actually both the other 2 guys, Magsudlu and Hike Materiasan, if fate would have it, are actually facing off in the first round, right? So that's an interesting one. You've got 2 guys that are in 4th and 5th place, respectively, in terms of the season, fighting for their life today in the first round. Can't wait for that. That'll probably be where we give a lot of our focus to, just given the what's at stake for those 2 guys, Magsudlu and Materiasan. But as we said, the event will get underway here shortly. All the players have joined us. They have passed our fair play exams at this point, and everyone is good to go. We've got them on camera. We're excited to throw down, and here we go. I believe the games are beginning momentarily, so waiting for the cue. Shout out to everybody with us, Twitch, YouTube, everybody. We see you. See you over on Chess TV. Thanks for that, Petra Gampa. That's encouraging. Appreciate that. We've got the match commands that will be getting set to start here shortly, and can't wait to see it. Barking Squirrel on Chess TV chat. Hey there. I'm with all of you guys. We're just sitting here getting set. We got Parham on camera. We can bring him up while we get set here. What's up, Parham? Nice little closet there behind you. I see.
Is that a treadmill?
Is that a treadmill? I could use one of those in the office. Hikaru's stream is down? Maybe, I'm being told. That would be unfortunate too. Poor Hikaru. Unfortunate. Yeah? Okay. Well, he'll still be competing, I believe, in the knockout. And in fact, the game is underway. Hikaru and Oparin Grigori are just getting started here. As we said, we also have Mkhitaryan, known as Haik Materiasan, taking on Parham Magsudlu. Hikaru still hasn't moved, so I'm not exactly sure. Maybe Hikaru's got something going on with his... What does DDoS mean?
That's like a denial of service hack.
Really?
Yeah.
That would be too bad. Someone hack Hikaru's stream? Don't hack Hikaru's stream. Well, hopefully Hikaru can come back online, because that would be a shocking end of the day. The guy that dominated the Swiss portion with a 9.5 out of 10 score doesn't... Wow, that's too bad. All right, well, maybe he'll figure it out. Maybe he'll grab his phone or something. I have no idea. But that's really too bad. Poor Hikaru. Unfortunate. Oh, looks like he moved. He found liftoff. Sacrifices about a minute to his opponent. That's not the best way to start things off, but here he goes. I wonder if he is on his phone. That would be crazy. Okay, well, Haik Materiasan and Parham Magsudlu is the other battle going on. As we said, I'll just quickly flash them all. We've got Grandmaster Kartikian, which is a young kid taking on Zviad Azoria. Then you've got Sunklop and Eltaj Safarli over here throwing down. So, all right, I mean, at this point, I guess the drama is right with Hikaru and Grigori, right? I mean, because this is the young, talented Russian Grandmaster, I believe now living in the States. I think so, last time we checked, although many things have changed with COVID-19. But okay, this will be an interesting one. Hikaru has not gone under the 2-minute mark yet, playing borderline instantly here. He was at 2 minutes and 8 seconds when the game started after whatever internet troubles Hikaru was going through over there. Okay, so we've got this one here. We've also, again, we'll keep Grigori on camera. Just flashed you. Haik Materiasan and Parham Magsudlu is also a big matchup. These are the main two that are going to get our focus here to start things off. But all right, Grigori is rocking a nice wooden chess set in his background, so props to that. Props for proper props. Props for proper props. Man. Props for proper props, man. Oparin is also streaming, I believe, his own point of view, or he was maybe earlier. And okay, we've got a dead equal position, roughly, right? I mean, the structure is symmetrical. Black maybe slightly favorable, with the pressure over here on the g2 pawn being a little bit tender. And this bishop, I think, in a slightly more superior position to the white knight. But the thing about these positions is they're kind of Hikaru specials. He plays them a lot, right? These B3 systems, if you're just joining us, this kind of system is something that we see every day. Every day by Hikaru. Every day he's shuffling. Every day this is a position we see. Now e4 played. That's some risky stuff. Immediately committing to changing the structure allows the knight to hit f4. So black seems to be doing just fine now. Grigori holding his own. Looks he looks focused, I'll say that, right? There he goes, he blinked. That's good. Queen e6 is played now, and we've got a lot of you just tuning in here. Anyone joining us from Hikaru Nakamura's stream, hit that follow button. We're glad to have you. We still have about 10,000 of you with us to see through this 8-player knockout portion, part of the Speed Chess Grand Prix. Going to be exciting. All right, so black's a little bit better here, and that's mainly because of the tenderness going on, right? You can't ever play g3 without h3 falling. Now, black lacks a little bit of a way in, right? If this pawn wasn't on h3, you would see queen g4, and then white would really be in some trouble. So the fact that Hikaru has some pressure on e5 kind of keeps the pieces at bay. You know, could even play king h2 if he wants, kind of get the king a little bit more out of harm's way. That might be what I would do. But the biggest thing, if you're just joining us, was that Hikaru apparently had some internet issues and did not make his first move on the board in this game until he had about 2 minutes left. So remember, it's win or go home. In the initial portion of things, it's a single game match. So Hikaru definitely put himself in a tough spot or got unlucky, however you look at it. But this is going to be drama down to the very finish, I believe. Whoa, is Hikaru? Whoa, look at his connection. Oh my gosh, he's been disconnected again. Hikaru not in a great spot apparently. Internet service providers, we've been there with issues. That sucks. Oh man, I mean, the championship of PogChamps was an issue for us because of internet service providing issues. So, oh my God, what a painful way to see Hikaru's day come to an end. That's really too bad. But it looks like Oparin Grigori is going to get the W because of a disconnected Hikaru Nakamura. Wow. Well, okay, Hikaru, after dominating the initial portion of today's chess, he went 9.5 out of 10. Unfortunately, has internet issues that bring his day to a close. So, too bad. That sucks. And we wish Hikaru the best. Oparin Grigori will be moving on to the next round. All right, so now we're focused on Haik Matiriasan's battle with Magsudlu. What do we have here? A weird position. No internet issues to speak of at this point. Magsudlu under 15 seconds, though. What a move, though. I like that move. Bishop e8 is preparing to play bishop to g6, hit the queen, and maybe spy at the king. Shout out to everyone who's here, and stick with us to see this thing through. But again, that is the drama storyline of the day so far. Unexpected internet issues for Super Grandmaster and streamer extraordinaire Hikaru Nakamura ends his day, unfortunately. Here comes bishop g6. Magsudlu putting the pressure on Matiriasan, who looks comfy in that chair. Plays rook to d1, but now maybe black can just take everything. Huh, he takes there. Why didn't he... Yeah, he allowed knight e4. Whoa. Magsudlu, I think, could have just taken everything on d3 and then gathered back the pawn. Now Matiriasan has some pressure. He's going to get the queens off the board. And who's better in the endgame? It got to be white, right? e6 is falling. King moves. You have to play rook e8. Now the king comes to e2 at some point. g3 maybe prepares h4. Interesting idea. Okay. Whoa, he blunders a piece. Bishop c5 allows b4. Or knight d6. Oh, Magsudlu blundering this one home. Haik Matiriasan takes a deep breath. Wow. That was shocking. Results we did not expect, especially when you consider that just a few moves ago, Black was really in good shape here. Instead of taking g7, if he just trades everything and takes back, he's just up the exchange. Rook for knight. So Magsudlu takes a winning position, blunders with queen takes g7, which allowed the move knight e4. And suddenly we end up getting a completely unclear battle where Matiriasan swindles and wins. So crazy stuff. Haik Matiriasan moves on to the next round, sends Parham Magsudlu home. If you're just joining us, Hikaru Nakamura with internet issues, loses on time, disconnects from the server. So Grigori and Matiriasan will be battling in the next round. The other battle between Izoria and Kartikian has already ended with a victory for the American Grandmaster, so that means we only have one game in the quarterfinals still going. That is between Sankalp Gupta and Eltaj Safarli. Safarli is in a good position here. Looks like he should be able to convert this one. He's got enough pawns, right, to start an army here. He's got a lot of pawns. Should be enough to convert. Queen d3 check. What's he looking for? Looking for a magic way to get close. King b3. I think king b3. No, there was queen b8. Okay. Looking for a magic way to make the mating net real. He now guards c6 with that move. That was a creative maneuver with the queen because you guard the c6 pawn. King to a6. Now what? He rushes the d pawn. Makes sense, I guess. He can bring the king back to hide from checks. Gupta making it tricky, though. Gupta making it tricky here. Not making it easy. We've got him on camera. Okay, now the queens are off the board. It's Red Rover. Sankalp shakes his head. His probably the best blitz event he's had on a Tuesday in his life, unfortunately, comes to an end. He is sent home here in the quarterfinals. And I guess that wraps up the first round. The first round is in the books as you see it. Grigori eliminates Hikaru Nakamura, or we could argue that Hikaru was eliminated by his internet service provider, unfortunately. Haik Matiriasan takes down Magsudlu. Zviad Azoria takes down Kartikian, which means he will face Eltaj Safarli in the next round. Oh my gosh. Wow. Now what do we do? Now we gotta wait. Well, speaking of things we can do, you could download the Dr. Wolf app. If you didn't know who your long-lost uncle was, who also happens to be Hugh Jackman's uncle. So there you go. You didn't even know. You were related. But there you go. The friendly and personal coaching from the Dr. Wolf app. It actually is amazing, jokes aside. Strongly considered if you are an aspiring chess player. The Dr. Wolf gives real-time feedback on your mistakes and advice, and is a pretty fascinating piece of technology. So I'd give it a download if I were you. All right, that's how they look. Moving into the semifinals, we have Grigori versus Matiriasan. We have Azoria versus Safarli. The next set of things will begin shortly. Shout out to everyone who maybe just be tuning in from other streamers who were competing and giving their own view on the commentary. We appreciate you sticking with us here on the official channel as we're about to wrap up today's SCC with the final set of matches going down here. The next rounds will begin shortly. Yeah, really unfortunate way it ended for Hikaru. Just not how we expected it, right? And as fans of Hikaru's streaming and commentary that we all are, also his chess, that was definitely a disappointing way to see it come to an end, that his internet crashed on him there, and that's unfortunate. So, we have the rest of the players still with us on camera. The reminder, again, what you're tuning in here, this happens every Tuesday at 10 a.m., and we are currently in the knockout portion of the event with the last four men standing competing for $1,000. First place is on the line for today, as well as all the Grand Prix points. So, thanks for being here. Shout out to you. Checking out chat. Taking a sip. Hikaru, I mean, honestly, it's possible. I don't know that every one of them is within the range that Hikaru could adopt them. If you don't know the term, adoption in chess is simply chess pop culture for winning 10 games in a row. No other implications meant by it. But Hikaru is really good, so definitely he was by clear and away the heavy favorite to probably win the knockout portion. But it is not meant to be. That means it's someone else's day, so it should be fun. We've got Fanatic52 says, "Hey Danny, how you doing?" I'm doing okay. Appreciate you asking. Barely hanging in there. Daniel Wrench, Gotchi Hyper. I don't know what that means, but thank you. Okay, here we go. The big name battle is underway. We've got Grigori versus Matiriasan. The semifinals here in the Speed Chess Championship Grand Prix roll on here on this Tuesday. Thanks for being with us. All right, this is going to be fun. Two super talented guys, and both are the kind of guys who regularly finish in the top of the standings. But it's such a hard event, right? You see guys like Fabiano Caruana, Anish Giri, Grishuk. Right? I mean, you see so many people on the outside looking in of this event. And these two guys are some of the fastest young blitz players too. So part of the reason they're able to get themselves all the way to this stage. All right, white's better here a little bit with the pawn on d5. I like white anyway, if I can reinforce it. Can I reinforce it? I can reinforce it. Now you can play for h3. Yeah. Okay, we'll keep playing guess the move here. What do I guess next? Maybe queen d3? Oh, he trades. Interesting. I thought queen d3 because it unpins the knight and keeps your passed pawn here. But he trades because he wants the weak c pawn to target. Right? So b takes c6 is played, and now you have this weakness. White could even play bishop e2 here. An interesting move that removes the bishop from the c file and prevents double pawns. He goes for g4, followed by queen e2. Interesting stuff. This is an all-in positional assault of the c pawn is what white is doing. The risk of this is that you've opened up your own king, right? And so these are not bugs. Pawns just don't move backward, and that's going to be the long-term risk, excuse me, for white. But I still like white. I mean, you know, it's interesting. My evaluation of the position based solely on the fact that I feel like the biggest positional weakness is c6. I don't see a clear way that black can pry open this side of the board. So that means these bishops are kind of passive to me. So it's interesting. I'm evaluating this as feeling like white is the one in control, despite the computer kind of thinking that it's roughly equal or even liking black. And I wonder sometimes if the computer's just biased toward the bishop pair and the slightly tender king, right? Because remember, the algorithm of Stockfish is built in a way that obviously they blunder check better than all of us and they calculate faster. So this isn't the typical human rant thinking the human knows more than the computer. Back off, okay? That's not what I'm saying. We know the computers are better, but what I'm saying is sometimes the algorithm of Stockfish is not like the neural nets that we know, like the Leelas of the world, right? We've given them the math that help build up the way they evaluate. And we've taught them that things like the bishop pair and king safety and these things are worth things, and they are. But sometimes I think maybe that's overestimated when I just look at this and feel like white is in control of the position, especially because this is the only real weakness. So queen e3 is played. Maybe you can play bishop e2, relocate your knight to c4. I think Materiasan is very comfortable. And the e5 pawn is weak. So, yeah. So I like white's position. And also look at the clock. Grigori is down on time. These are the kind of positions that Materiasan plays super well, too. He's a very simple, fast player. We've analyzed a lot of his games, as we do with everybody. You know, we're constantly diving into people's chess, you know, checking for fair play and clean and just everything. And what we know is that Hike is a super talented, super fast player who likes to simplify the game like this, where he gets it a position that he's almost always up on the clock against his opponents with very small things to play for, like a weakness like this. And I really think that this is right up his alley against Grigori here. Knight g3, I like that move. Keep a g5 under control, right? If you take, I could take back either way, probably knight or pawn. And knight g3 prevents f5 because you've got so much. So queen g4, I guess, bluffing at something. Well, where are you going next, right? What are you going to do, big guy? Sit on me? Where are you going? Bishop e2. Threatens knight takes e5 with the discovery threat, so you got to move the queen. Goes to f4. But now white could even trade and play knight f5. Again, this is a simple kind of advantage for white. Just sort of simple chess. And it's something that Hike does really well. So he doesn't have to trade queens, but if you move the queen too far, e4 might fall. So I'm expecting queen takes f4. Okay, he does it, and here comes knight f5 indeed. So he goes for this line. That's what I was thinking. And now the d4 square has become available for one of the knights. I mean, Grigori gets credit here, right? He's defending a position where he's a little bit worse and has been for some time. And I felt that way before the computer agreed. Remember that. I liked white before. And I just think this is exactly the kind of path I thought this game would go on. Here comes king f3. f4 is a problem. Will it be enough of an advantage, right? He goes king f3. The problem with taking f4 is that f2 hangs. So that'll be a bit of a gambit that Materiasan will have to calculate. We see him on camera there in his big, comfy chair. That's probably Dad's chair, but he lets Hike sit there when he's playing chess. Like, as soon as the tournament's over, you get out of Dad's chair. Okay? That's probably what's going on with that chair. Knight e5. Okay, that's a helpful transition for Grigori. I think Hike might have messed that up. Bishop to c4 comes in. You can play king e2 to try to fix the pawns. But, okay, now watch out. This is why we taught the computers to like the bishop pair, because long-term, the dark square bishop, right? I almost went Robert De Niro. You're going to meet me, right? I mean, this dark square bishop, it's a problem. Not my best De Niro. I'm a little tired today. Okay? But yeah, I think that Grigori has defended this well. Time will probably be a huge factor here, right? But I don't know that Hike has the thread anymore. It's hard to figure out how to get in if you're white. You can trade on f7 and you still have the knight advantage, but you have to be really careful. Like, at some point, if you just settle on f3 to try to run the king, meaning you remove the pawn from being attacked, you have to be careful because at some point the knight could be kicked and then bishop f2 backdoor, right? So these are the long-term... Okay, he goes for this, but this is... He goes for g6. I'm nervous about this position if I'm white. King f8 just sits tight on the knight. Loving it. right? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, no squares. Loving it. And if the king runs, look out for bishop. I think we're just going to see a draw because Material-san knows only a fool plays for a win here when the bishop spies the h-pawn like that. So I think we're just going to see a game of tickle here, a repetition of moves until they've achieved the same position 3 times, and we will have peace throughout the land. So, wow. That was an instructive game. I feel like I got better just watching those guys shuffle and maneuver there and looking at the potential of that dark square bishop and the pawn there. What, is he playing for more? You don't have anything. You got nothing. There you go. It's a draw. Okay. So, peace is what we have. They will now rematch and play again. And there you go. Right? So who got the better of that? I think Grigori did, right? I think that if we're talking about who won the game within the game, it was definitely the young Russian because he was worse. He had black first, right? So he had the second move first. He was also in a worse position. Excuse me. And I have allergies, right? Apparently. Okay. All right. Here we go. Let's do it. I don't know if Grigori knows it's his move. Hey, bro. You get the memo. There you go. Nothing like spotting your opponent 27 seconds on the clock. Maybe it was psychological. What do you think? COVID doesn't make you sneeze. Guys, relax. Okay? Plus, I can't sneeze through the computer and reach all of you. Okay? I've tried. Okay? All right. Grigori now playing very quickly, making up for the time advantage he spotted Material-san. White's a little better. You've got the bishop pair long term. Eventually, maybe you're going to pry open some light squares and flex what you got. Ooh, f5. That is an aggressive looking move. b5 was immediately met by knight remaneuvering itself around to f4 to the newly created e6 weakness. I like this move, knight d3. At some point, you kick the knight out of c4 with b3, and you try to use one of the squares, meaning you either use c5 for the knight or e5 for the knight. I like it. Double rooks first. Yep, indeed. Here comes b3 at some point. The question is whether Material-san has knight a3, so that's where Grigori is going to pause and take stock of here. So the critical nature of this position, if you're evaluating it, what can I learn from this? What's going on? The big picture questions will come down to, will the light squares and the pawns on the light squares become problematic enough long term for white to have real winning chances, right? Because right now they're doing the job of keeping the position closed. But we always say it's much harder to keep a position closed than it is to eventually open it, and right on cue, here comes f3 and e4. So when you look at this structure, if you have a bishop that your opponent lacks, that color complex should be number one on your agenda, right? Because in theory, if the light squares open up, white gets the better tactics, right? Because you own the potential to dominate those squares where your opponent doesn't. So you would have better tactics on the light squares. Again, that's the general idea. And so f3 has exactly that idea in mind. You want to strive for e4. It also strives for g4. e4 right away is not an option. Obviously, the d4 pawn falls, okay? Duh. But you can play bishop f2 to protect it. Slowly try to pry open these light squares where you can flex a little bit of an advantage. And so this is one of the positions where I actually agree with the computer's slight edge it gives the bishop pair long term. Because I believe at some point this position is going to open up. And does black have enough here? Okay, he's going to try to prove it. Does black have enough with everybody committed to the queen side to make up for the long-term breakthrough here? In fact, if I was white, I'd play it now, and here you go. e4 on the board. I almost went full of God Mator there. Well, it's on the board. And the pawns and the squares are on the board. And welcome. Hello, everyone. Okay. Thank you, Antonio. e4 is played, and just kidding, giving a god a hard time. He's awesome. But the move e4 is crucial because the light squares are going to start to get pried open, and white's going to be better. Wow. Okay, b3's committal. Look out for knight a3. If you're backing up, though, now you like white. You like white. You can either trade or just take d5 first and then play f4. You want to start. Okay, you want to open things up. He does it. And whether you have queen e6 or f4 here, maybe queen e6 first. Maybe queen e5, even better. Okay. Yeah, hits d5. And it's not as forcing, because if you gave the check, you actually force queen f7. But this move, a little bit trickier for black to deal with. He plays queen f7 anyway, but now the knight is kind of pinned to the b8 square. What an idea. You can play f4, threaten bishop d5, and if the knight moves, you have queen b8. Maybe that's the improvement. I like it. I like f4. I like Grigori's chances here, and I called it when if you were evaluating the game within the game, right? The scoreboard was a draw. I get it. But the game within the game, holding that last one was really big for Grigori. Okay, I think he blunders this. Queen b8 check is coming. I feel like a prophet right now. I feel like I just found a transformer. Say hi to your mother for me. Thank you, Mark Wahlberg. I'm just out in the front yard. I'm just trying to protect my daughter, all right? I'm trying to find a transformer. I feel like a prophet over here. Say hi to your mother for me. Yeah, I like it. Grigori. He's flexing. Look at, I mean, if it wasn't the man's day, how often do you get lucky enough to beat Hikaru Nakamura via internet service provider? He played the ISP Gambit, right? Grigori, he DDoSed Hikaru out of the event. And he wins by eliminating Hikaru with bad internet. And if it's not your day, then when is it your day? Right? If you're not gonna take advantage of eliminating Hikaru via bad internet, when do you ever get a chance to win? So I got a feeling about Grigori. I'm calling it. I think he converts on this one. He is down on time, though. Okay, so let's give Hike his due. Hike is a very fast player. And if you're just joining us, everybody, again, Hikaru Nakamura had an incredible event, 9F out of 10, and unfortunately was struck down by the internet service provider Gambit. And yeah. Okay, queen c6 is a fun move, right? Because you're threatening queen c1, which is kind of a bluff, but it's really hard for humans to see that. Like, I think, okay, I was going to say, I think white can take f5, and he does. And now he backs up, but here comes queen c1. And if you have to defend the bishop, here comes bishop b4. He doesn't do it. I wonder if Material-san should have done that. Okay, he's going to give... But what does he have? Does he have bishop f2? What is Grigori going for now? Okay, I guess he's going to head to the queen and pawn ending, but the risk of that is draws, right? Draw town. I mean, Grigori's advantage is not nearly as strong as it was. That is for sure. Now you have queen e3. The nice thing when you're up a pawn is every king and pawn ending makes your life easier, right? So you're kind of in control of the trade, and that's crucial because whenever you're evaluating these endings, always be aware of who will have the advantage should the next sort of trade happen, the next natural trade. I think queen takes h2 and we're going to get a draw, so I called it too soon. Grigori's day, it may not be. I think that he blew it. Okay, you're all in now. Now, very nice idea. In fact, that's going to secure the draw. Rather than going for the G pawn, he goes for the B pawn. Now, the question is he worried about queen d5? Okay, we're going to find out. It's nothing. This is just a drawn king and pawn ending. But it was interesting for a second, so we get pause. All right. Who has the advantage in bullet? No, I'm asking everybody. Chat, give me an answer. Maybe we can throw up a poll. I have no idea. Who do you think is better in bullet? Can we throw up a quick poll in the Twitch chat? You have to call it before the game begins. Who do you think has the advantage in bullet? Hikaru fans, go nuts. Give me your vote. A lot of people voting for Material-san. Danny has the advantage in bullet. That's what I'm talking about, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Who wins in bullet? We all win. It was a trick question. But seriously, give us your vote. Who do you think is better in bullet? A lot of people in the Chess TV chat like Material-san. And a lot of people in the YouTube chat are going Grigori. All right, there you go. A few people voting for Danny Rich. I appreciate it. Twist ending. Danny is Hikaru. Ready? It goes like this. Ready? Twist ending. I'm here, guys. Traveled across the world for commentary. Right, we've got pawn, 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 GG, yo. Let's do it. I can't even pretend to be as fast as Hikaru when I'm pretending to be Hikaru. Do it. Do it. I'm peeking. Hi, everybody. All right. Here we go. Materiasan has the advantage in bullet according to the masses. Well, not according to the board. I'm paying attention to the chess for the first time. That's something I should do every now and then. And black is on the attack, baby. Push him, baby. Push him, baby. Let's go, baby. Ooh, that was a mistake. Just push A5. Push him, baby. Push him, baby. Okay. You'd like to get the queen in, but I think he messed it up. The biggest issue right now is, okay, thanks, Captain Obvious, is always going to be the clock, right? Going for mate makes sense, but your king is in huge trouble here. I'm not even going to trust what the computers say at this point. Maybe I am now, because that looks like it's going to be mate. I think he blundered F2. Uh-oh. Grigori, looking good. Grigori getting greedy on B2, baby. Oh, man. Materiasan, not meant to be. Well, I did say that, again, if you were going to bet on a guy, I would take the guy who was lucky enough to have Hikaru's internet go down. So, he didn't push him, baby. The chess bros would have wanted him to push him, baby, but he did get the mate anyway. And there you have it. Okay, well, the first semifinals is in the books. Oparin Grigori sends Materiasan home in bullet fashion. And we continue to roll on here on this particular Speed Chess Championship Grand Prix. The SCC GP. You down with SCC GP? Yeah, you know me. You down with SCC GP? Yeah, you know me. You down with SGP? Yeah, you know me. You down with SGP? Yeah, you know me. That doesn't quite roll off the tongue the way I would have liked. But, all right. Okay, well, the next semifinal matchup doesn't quite pack the star power we've seen, right? Izoria and Safarli aren't the household names that the other guys are, at least in terms of the online Blitz community. But, hey, they had great events, qualified their way in, so we're, Danny, take off your shirt. Not going to happen. Checking in on stuff. Shout out to everybody. No games just yet. We're waiting. That's how you get kicked off of Twitch, is when you do things like that. So you don't do that. You don't do that. All right, here we go. Safarli, Izoria, game on. Safarli coming to us live from the shower where they filmed Psycho. And Izoria taking, oh my God, that just happened. He just blew some smoke in our face courtesy of the Golden Gate Bridge. Thank you, Zoom. Thank you, Zoom. That was, that was rough. We do not endorse any vaping of any kind on this show. But yeah, Izoria is bringing it, at least with the Zoom background there. That's beautiful. And who doesn't want to go to the sunset there? Thank you for that. Because I'm sure what's really going on behind that wall is, you know, if I had to guess, what's he got? What do you guys think his real wall looks like? Like one of those pictures that's a basket of fruit or something? Right? Like a yellow wall, yellow plaid wall. I don't know why I'm making assumptions about that house. All right, IQP. Yeah, you know me. I'm down with IQPs. Okay, isolated queen pawn. If you don't speak French, is the nature of the pawn structure here. Bishop E5. That's a nice idea because the transition usually helps white. If you trade DE, kicks the knight, and then you can bust out your mating battery, right? So you've got queen E2 coming. You want to put a rook on either the C or the D file, and you're trying to build on the tension here, right? Because if black ever trades, you take with the D pawn, and then, like I said, you get going with the battery. Safarli taking a moment to think. I mean, Queen E2 was the move I wanted for sure. Just took some time. Now, if I had to guess, Rook D1 is now more useful than C1 because we're probably going to get a D file opening at some point. So this is also good. You can even just go to B1 here, right? Yeah. I've guessed 3 in a row. Should we continue? I'm going to guess A3. A3, but then the knight goes to D5, so maybe not. Flexible. Does he want H3? I love playing Guess the Move. You can play Guess the Move over on Chess.com. Did you know that you can try to guess the next move before the Super Grandmaster does it? Head over to Chess.com. Learn something today. That was awkward. Thank you, Info Voice Marshall Man. Knight to D5 happens on A3, so I guess the move, but I also guess Black's move, and I don't know that I like A3. That's why I took it back. Because why would I have forced the pony to go where it wanted to go? So that's why I suggested it and then said, nah, maybe not. I actually I don't think that was handled perfectly by Safarli. Although you could still play Knight E4. Knight E4 looks interesting. Right? It brings the pressure to D6, and the point is, if Black takes, you immediately take with the queen, renew the threat of mate, and the knight is kind of pinned, right? So do the math in your head. Knight E4 takes, shake and bake. Knight F6 does not help because B7 is falling. So Knight E4 is a move that I would think of. It's 5 in a row. It's 5 moves in a row guessed for this lowly international master. They don't call me a super IM for nothing, okay? Knight E4 makes sense. It's actually a good move. You put pressure on D6. I think Black should probably play Bishop E7. It's weird to play moves like that in the isolated queen pawn structures, but sometimes you just have to sit tight, right? You go back to E7, you overprotect F6. What is going on here? I'm freaking out. I've guessed every move. Okay, this is not a good sign for them. This is not a good sign for them. Okay, now white is threatening something for realsies. Bishop takes F6 is going to come on the board. If bishop takes, knight takes, then we take with check and watch out for H7, right? I Spy with my little eye. The other day I was playing I Spy with my girls in the car, and my 4-year-old said, I spy with my little eye something in the car. She won that round. Because we would say, well, what is it? She'd go, what do you think it is? Like, well, you're supposed to tell us a color or something. Well, what do you think? Anyway, she won that round. Just say, spoiler alert. 4-year-old wins, I Spy. Okay, H3 and G4 is coming. I like it. I like it. What else is weak is E6. So he's flipping the script on the old positional stuff. You know, the thing about F5 in these IQPs is it solves one problem, right? Meaning the long diagonal is no longer an issue, but it creates another, E6, right? And so that's the issue now. White is constantly in a position to move the bishop and look out for E6. Indeed, he does so. Now you can put the knight on E5. He does it before I can highlight it. Yeah, so white's just a little better, but I actually think if I was looking at this position compared to what it was earlier, I think Azoria has held his own. You know, getting out of the immediate mating net danger. He still has a blockade over the isolated pawn. That is the biggest positional weakness on the board. You know, he can sit tight, just put the rook back on E8. Indeed, he does. And I don't know that white has really improved the position that much. I might just take E5. I don't know. If you take E5, the knight can take. Wait, that was a blunder apparently? Apparently that's a bad move? Why? Is it... Wait, what if white just takes D5 and then takes F6? He does it. I think that was the move. Yeah, the computer still... That must have been the move. And the point is, if you take here, I win a piece. So you have to take back. Oh, now he's just down a piece. Bishop takes B7. So he had to take back, but then bishop takes F6. So queen C2 is, oh, Azoria is like, he looks like a character from The Godfather, right? It's like the guy who's just kind of there, you know? All right. Gives a bit of that De Niro nod. All right. Yeah, Azoria goes down. He's now in a must-win situation against Safarli. And we'll see what he can come up with. He will now get the white pieces at least, right? Worse things have happened when you've been in a must-win situation. Getting white helps. You get the first move. Goes for the English, right? Everyone's favorite approach when you need to win. I'm not even really joking, right? Shout out to you, Gary Kasparov. Shout out to you. If you don't know the match versus Karpov I'm referencing, then shame on you. Just kidding. You don't have to know crazy old chess references to be cool around here. Yeah. I feel like the IP address conversation reminds me of the book where the bird goes around and goes, "Are you my mother? Are you my mother?" Like, is this my IP address? Is this the right IP address? I don't know what happened. All we know is that Hikaru had some internet issues, and that was the issue. So it's unfortunate. But we've got awesome chess in front of us now, and that's where we're focused. We're gonna get another IQP. Yeah, you know me. I think we're gonna get another trade here and another IQP with colors reversed. If I had to guess. Azoria takes a second. Nope, no IQP. Instead, the trade happens and both sides have isolated pawns. Which is in theory still an IQP, but not the way that is traditionally referenced in a chess position where one side has an isolated pawn and the others do not. I like that. Sacrifice the D pawn for the initiative. Do it. Do it. Take it. Call his bluff and just take the pawn. So Farley's going to really think this one through. He does indeed decide to capture. I think it's the right call, even if white's better. And I did like the pawn sack. But the right call. We're going to get a position where white has a small edge because of the bishop pair in an open board. Light square bishop has no challenger, so white has a small edge. But it's not a huge advantage. And remember, Safarli only needs to draw to eliminate Azoria. That's the whole point, right? Azoria has to win this game or he's going home. Yeah, it's a good move. Bishop f6, hitting b2. You would be more than happy to just get a whole bunch of trades. If I'm white, I have to find every way to just keep it spicy. Like even queen f3, right? You sacrifice b2 so you can get rook b1 and try to get b7. You know, you're not really worried about knight e5 because you can just pop the lady back to g2 and just keep the battery. White has to find a way to keep the pieces on the board and keep it interesting. That's an interesting move. Gives up the b2 pawn. Okay, interesting. I mean, again, white's going to have a small edge. The advantage now, he got the rook off the diagonal, so he can play b3. So that's what's going to happen. He's going to take here, isolate the pawn, and then play b3 so that he has weaknesses to focus on and black does not. Right? So that's what he's done. And that was the whole idea of rook c1, was to get the rook off of the diagonal so that you could transition into a better positional endgame. White's pawns are healthier because they're connected and protected. These pawns are both targets. So it's a good, I mean, whether it's enough for Azoria to get the dub here or not, it's instructive for everyone watching because those are the kind of positional tricks that Georgian grandmasters like Zviad Azoria know, right? And it's a good one for you to take note of as far as how to create a small advantage you can keep pushing for. So. You feel bad for Danny because no one's looking at the game? Don't feel bad for me. How about them apples, them pancakes? How about them apples? Don't feel bad for me. Put the rook on c1. Then play rook c4. Then go to a4. And then target your pawn. Ooh, rook d1. Interesting. Same idea, but using the d file as the routing station. And now goes to c1 with tempo. Look at that. Oh, that was like shuffle. That's like the dad bod shuffle there, right? Goes here to hit this, and only then goes to c1 when it's a tempo. I like it. Again, I don't know if it's going to be enough for Azoria to get the victory here, but this is instructive endgame technique regardless. Now he's bringing out the king e4 coming, f4, g4. I mean, It would be a huge victory if Azoria finds a way to squeeze the water out of this stone. King d7. Okay. So again, I don't know if it's going to be enough, but he's put himself in position with an edge. Safarli's down on the clock. I just look at Azoria's focused, right? Not nearly as windy as it normally is on the Golden Gate Bridge, right? So he's got that going for him. An oddly calm day in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Let's get some concrete shoes put on somebody later.
Yeah. Oh, I can't say what I want to say. The Golden Gate Bridge is right where his other line of work is. We'll move on. G5 is played. Now bring the king around. You can also play king e5, actually. Because if check, you make a run over here, right? He plays f4. He's up on the clock, though. Maybe he should have played king e5 before bishop d6 came in. Okay, now he's going to play bishop e5, and the rook ending, this is tough, right? I mean, pings, poofer. No, the SCC is normally actually in the fall, in November or December, kind of winter. But as we've, that's the main 16-player knockout that everyone knows and loves. As we've expanded and created more opportunities for people to qualify, increase the prize money, it's become a little bit more of a seasonal thing that'll run throughout, kind of half the calendar year is what's going on. So, rook d4 check instead of taking a6. Now he has rook d6. He wants the c pawn instead. I wonder if that was a mistake. He might have just blown his winning chances there. Remember, Azoria has to get the dub or he's going home. He's going to run the king in, but he's going to lose e5 in the process. The rook will come right back to e2 now. Oh, no, he gives up b instead. Maybe that's smart to go for the b pawn instead of the e pawn. It's weird. White's definitely better, but don't let the eval bar fool you, right? It's only like a 1-point advantage. In rook endings, this is like, it should probably be a draw. There should probably be a rushing of the pawn. And again, I can't calculate it. I go there, he goes there deeply enough, so I could totally be wrong. And now the a pawn is, whoa. He's one on time. I wasn't even paying attention to the clock. Holy shenanigans. Wake up, Dan. Sheboygan, Wisconsin called. They want their forgettable town back. Oh my gosh, look at that. Shenanigans. He just flagged him. What? I wasn't paying attention. I was all rook ending this, rook ending that. Way to go, Dan. Oh my gosh. That's what happens when you fill this thing with water just so it's a prop. This is water today, boys. Don't spill. Oh, a little, I did it. Should have gotten some actual coffee, apparently. So the clock, look at that. Azoria gets the dub and forces bullet, baby. Here we go. If you're just joining us, Oparin and Grigori eliminated Matiriasan in bullet. So both matches now have gone the distance. We are in the bullet tiebreaker. WTF, which stands for why the face, if you happen to be under the age of 13 and somehow sheltered beyond belief. WTF stands for why the face and nothing else. Okay, knight e5 is played. Swing the lady over. Nope, we got another IQP. And this one looks better for Azoria than the first one did that Safarli took home, right? Wouldn't that be a comeback story? All right. Rook to d8. Yeah, put the bishop on f4, though. Get the lady out of there. Okay. Yeah. Queen b6 gets the queens off, but doubles the pawns in the process. Knight to c4 is coming. But I actually think black is, again, okay. This is better than, remember, game one, Azoria lost in the IQP structure due to an attacking kind of game. This one's a little different. I already like Azoria's chances better. Maybe take e5. Take e5 and play bishop c6. Yeah, oh, called it. He does it. We trade. We head to the second rank. Look at Azoria. Okay, he's holding on, but he's down on the clock. Ah, that's the issue. Don't pay attention to the clock, Dan. That was, obviously, since I missed the boat on the last game. Okay, so the clock is the issue here. Azoria down on time, and but better on the board. That's my point. So rook d7, guard f. Rook d7. Oh, rook a8, even better. You're gonna win a3 with check, bro. Check again. Shaka Khan. Chaka Chan, Chaka Khan. Do it. Do it. Take E5. Play fast. Azorian, the comeback kid. He's better on the board, but he's down on the clock. Remember, this is 1-0. This is not for the faint of heart. There is no increment saving you here. 7 seconds, 6 seconds. King G6. He goes to H7. He's anticipating pre-moves. He's going to push the Harry. Push the Harry H-pawn. Push it. No, not anymore. He's pre-moving his way. He's trying to flag and play Rook G5. Indeed he does. He's got 4.8 seconds. Black is still better, but not any... Okay, now it should be a draw, but they're just going to... Oh my god, this is going to be a wild finish. What in the world is going on here? Oh my god, he's going to flag him. He's come all the way back. Now he's up on the clock. He takes E7. 1 second, 2 seconds. He gets a queen. What? Oh, he lost on time. Holy crap. Oh my gosh. Sorry, it's like, what the... Oh, he's like, why the face? Oh my god. That was disgusting. That was disgusting. Shame on you. Don't we all feel dirty? It's like the first time you saw the movie Saw, and you came out like, that was an interesting ending. But that guy, did he just cut his own leg off? I don't know what's going on. I feel a little dirty having watched this movie. We'll be right back. Zhu Li has done the thing. We have an updated bracket. Thank you for being with us. Oparin Grigori takes on Eldaj Savarli here in the final day, excuse the voice, of June 30th SCC GP. The Speed Chess Grand Prix rolls on. $1,000 cash money homie up for grabs here in the final matchup between Grigori and Safarli. It has been a wild one, a ton of fun. It looked like the day was set in stone. It was a storyline we know well. Hikaru Nakamura dominated the 10-round portion of the event, going 9.5 out of 10. And it looked like he was going to be the guy cruising to victory, right? Clearly the strongest player in the final bracket. But not so fast, said the internet service provider, unfortunately. And Hikaru is DDoSed out of the event. He disconnect. I believe at some point he tried to switch to his phone. I don't know for sure. I haven't talked with Hikaru yet. Usually we catch up later. So I don't know if he switched to his phone. I don't know what happened. But at some point Hikaru reconnected, disconnected. The drama was real. Grigori eliminates him. But since then, I feel like it's been anybody's day. Back and forth. We just saw this one finish in a crazy time scramble. Safarli dirty flags Zviad Azoria, and with it punches his ticket into the championship match. But if you had to pick a favorite right now, Grigori is the stronger player. And like I said, as fate would have it, he's the guy that was rewarded with Hikaru's bad connection. So something feels like it's Grigori's day, but stranger things have happened. Thank you, Winona Ryder. Here we go. We have a Roy Lopez exchange, delayed exchange. Sometimes the advantage of that, by the way, is, you get Black's pieces committed to maybe a move order, maybe squares they don't normally go to in the Ruy Lopez exchange. That's one of the reasons you waste the tempo and then go back to taking c6. But again, it's a very small edge for white. Just sometimes the edge is merely just practical or symbolic, right? Here the knights will relocate to the king side. If you can move the f knight, sometimes you can strive for f4. C3 is a flexible move. You might be preparing for both d4 or other types of expansion, or also just, kind of opening up some space. So c5 play, Grigori wants to keep an eye on d4. The long-term edge of the position kind of favors Black because he has a bishop that White doesn't, right? We've talked about this theme many times today. The bishop pair and the fact that the light squares could belong to Black is an advantage. Now, is it enough of an advantage that he wants to waste the tempo to keep the bishop, or does he just play like queen d7 here and then try to bring another rook over to the d file? Yeah, I kind of like that better, actually. Queen d7. The whole point is d3 has become the newest weakness, right? New weaknesses on the block. Was a boy band that never made it, apparently. New weaknesses on the block. Come on, you didn't see that coming. NWOTB. New weaknesses on the block. Instead of new... Come on! That was good. All right, queen d7. You're going to put the rook on d8, hit the d3 pawn. I like Black's position. And again, I love disagreeing with the computer. I feel like the long-term edge slightly favors Black here, not White. And again, the computer, I think, kind of likes White here because of small space advantage, the algorithm says, and the double pawns. But I just don't think that the long-term features here are really advantageous for White. I like Black. I like rook d8. I don't know that f4 is ever played without creating more problems than not, right? So yeah, so I like Grigori's chances here right now. Now you can put the bishop on f8, right? Get the bishop off the d file, immediately gain a tempo on the d3 pawn, and prepare to play g6. I like it. Here we go. Maybe queen b5 now? No, probably you want to go for g6, but the question is how you're going to deal with knight h6 check, right? Are you really going to take it? Or are you going to move the king and let the knight sit there? It could be a little irritating. Makes you maybe even want to play like f6 first, right? f6, open the 7th rank, maybe preparing g6, kind of slowly, subtly improving your structural bind. I like queen to c6 as well. You're going to prepare to double rooks on the d file. So now the question is whether you can play g6, because we're in forcing line territory. He goes for it, because the other thing queen c6 threatened was c4. And I wonder if Safarli, didn't see this coming. The whole idea of queen c6 was to both clear the d file, but also open up the idea of c4, where this is a weakness, but now you're undermining it to create other weaknesses, right? a2, c4, e4. I have called so many moves today. What is wrong with me? I'm like about to black out. I haven't had this much foresight on the right plan in ever. That's how I ended up here. Lack of foresight. Not to be confused with Fortnite. TM. Lack of foresight. All right, I like black. I would even go take the pawn. But I know what you're thinking. Greedy Dan, right? But here's the thing. Yeah, he does it. Because queen f6, like, what are you looking at, buddy? I got your G spot right here. Over here. All right? You got nothing over here. I got you guarded. You got nothing. I like it. Play queen a4. Look at that move. It hits d1 and e4. Or take another pawn, which could be a really bad idea. I don't know what's going on. I like what Grigori's doing. Apparently there was a mistake there, but who cares what the computer thinks at this point? I don't got time for that. Nobody got time for this. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. By the way, this is a tricky move because you can't take it. The pawn takes it and undermines the knight, who, like I said, is guarding this all-important spot over here. Without it, we will have checkmate. So, kind of irritating, actually. What does black do? I don't know. He takes c3, apparently. That's what he does. He's like, I got no fear for that. Rook d6? What? Why is this good for white? Black has won 3 pawns. There must be some, like, trick here. Computers see trick. Makes Dan a dull boy. All working. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, Safarli didn't see it either. So, it's one of those positions where apparently there was some blunder. I'll back up and show you guys. I'll feed you, baby birds. I'll give you the answer. Right? Just open your mouth. I'll feed you. Mama bird will feed you. We're going to find out what it was. There was apparently a blunder there that nobody saw. Not Safarli or Grigori. Obviously, probably has to do with some mating idea. But now the position is one that I still like black because you've won 1.5 million pawns. This guy's pinned to h6. Oh, time. Wake up, Dan. 4 seconds. 3 seconds. Now you can take e6, and it's a draw. If you take e6, you eliminate the knight. Threaten mate on g7, which forces a perpetual of wisdom. Yeah, it's a draw. I think he's going to do it. I think he's going to take e6 and count his lucky stars. Safarli's shaking his head, I think, because he's like, I got nothing better than a draw. Who am I kidding? Right? We're going to back up real quick and find out. We're gonna get a draw. I was right. I called it, but I want to see what was going on. Yeah, they're perpetuating this one out. But what was the answer here? What was the win? I'll check. I'll turn on the lines now. Okay, apparently white had rook c1. What if the queen just moves? Oh, your rook takes c7? What an idea. Look, you remove the defender of the rook, the pawn, and the knight couldn't take it because it was made on g7. Let's look at that. If the knight takes it, it's mate. I'm threatening to win the rook, and if you don't deal with that, I'm also threatening queen f7 mate. What an idea. So nobody saw that. Grigori didn't see it. Safarli didn't see it. I didn't see it, but it was one move, the evaluation swung up there. Queen takes c3 apparently allowed the... Apparently rook c1 was there before. So nobody saw this idea of rook takes c7 overwhelming the knight from g7. So that's where Grigori lost it. Either way, we have a liftoff. We have a tied match. And the SCC Grand Prix continues. We are deadlocked here. Again, if you're just tuning in, it's been a long day. Lots of action. Hikaru Nakamura dominated the first portion of things, finishing 9.5 out of 10 and through the Swiss. But then his internet fell apart, and he was unable to complete his journey here in the knockout. Grigori has been the man to beat ever since. And right now he gets the white pieces. And if he wins, he takes home the $1,000 cash prize, along with all the pride. All the pride, all the dad jokes. I'm loaded with them. I give him all the dad jokes he wants. I'll give them to him for free, actually. They'll be included. And usually people get a nickname when they win from me. That's the other prize they get. That's why they play. They get a nickname. I'll think about it. Grigori plays bishop c1. Again, we've got a lot of bishop pair imbalances today we've been talking about. The light squared bishop, the common bishop that someone has that the other person doesn't. But this isn't so simple, right? White's pieces have really been pushed back, right? They're all on the first rank, which is not their favorite spot. But a3 is weak to go with it. It makes you wonder if there's some... No real way to do that, because you always have bishop f8. So yeah, strange. How does Grigori work his way out of this position? I like queen to c2. That's a move I would consider. Okay, he plays h4. I was thinking queen c2 to prepare d4. That was the idea. Plays h4, so he's all in with an attack over here. What are you going to do, though? I don't know. Play h5, I guess. We've already come this far. Might as well keep on running. Thank you, Alpha Zero. Bishop h3. Okay, that's how you use your bishop pair, right? He did find a diagonal, right? Put the king on g2. You can also, again, move the queen I've been calling for to try to prepare for d4. d4 is a weird thing. It's super hard to get. You're probably never going to get it, honestly, the more I say that. He does go queen c2, the move I was saying earlier. In fact, now that we're here, I don't think he's ever going to get d4. In fact, if anything, he parted ways with the bishop pair to avoid black dominating the d4 square with the knight. So me like it, yeah? Absolutely, right? You like black? Isn't it, love? Right, you get double D's on the d file here. Right. I like it. I like rook d6. Double rooks on the d file. Do it. Queen e7 first doesn't make a lot of sense because you walk into bishop c5 with tempi. Yeah, so rook d6 made sense. Now don't play queen e7 because of bishop c5, so he finds a different square for the first lady. You can double rooks on the d file, and I think black is doing fine. Every time I say black's doing fine, the computer disagrees. I don't know. I think black's doing good. Grigori also not up on the clock. Shout out to Safarli, who has held his own on time, right? I mean, that's been huge, competing with the blitz and bullets specialists like Oparin and Grigori. I would not be able to do that. Thanks. No, duh, Dan. We know you wouldn't. But what I meant was it's impressive, right, when you're throwing down with these guys, blitz and bullet demons, without being the one down on the clock. Rook d7. I don't know. I don't know what is going on. I never know what he's doing. Mom, meatloaf. I never know what she's doing back there. Never know what she's doing. Yeah, I don't think either side is doing anything. Queen c3. What are you going to do? Take on c4? It doesn't even help you. You eliminate the weak d pawn if you do that. If you take, we take. I was why I played bishop b6 or even bishop c5. One of these two squares and just call black's bluff. You know? The trade doesn't help black. I guess if the rooks come off, maybe the idea is he trades everything. He has like knight c3 hitting a2. I don't know that it works concretely. Maybe this is some idea he has. I don't know. Okay, I like bishop b6. That's what I called for. The rook has to move off the d8 square, I believe, unless you're going to trade everything and take everything on d2. No, so you're not, which means that you've had to give up your pressure. I was just thinking that move, I swear. I know I didn't say it, but I was thinking it. Rook to c1 made sense because you force the queens to trade and take away the d-pawn weakness. This is getting better for white by the second. You can trade, or you could bring the rook right back to the d-file. Yeah, he does it. I like it. The knight is pinned. You're threatening to win the d-pawn, right? Shake and bake everything. Win an extra pawn, head to a rook ending, and ask questions later, right? And by the way, rook d8 not possible, right? So I think that white is just winning a pawn here, and this is going to quickly become Grigori's day, right? Who wants a victory? Who wants a victory? Grigori wants a victory. F5 is played more out of desperation. Just takes and shake it. Take everything on d4. There is rook e2 at the end. Aha. Notice how I just did the Hikaru, number 9. Looking up to check the calculation or the mirror on the ceiling. No, but okay, he plays king f1 because of that, actually. So he played king f1 smartly to guard e2 so that now he can take. So the Hikaru look-off actually pays off. He takes a second. Now he'll win the d-pawn. There will be no rook e2, and white will be better in the rook ending. You heard it here first. Okay, and now very well played by Grigori. Overprotect. Now you're threatening bishop c5. The a pawn's going to fall. This has been a very, very good game and a very good day for Grigori if he converts this. Okay, rook ending, this is the safe way. I think bishop c5 was maybe better. I don't know. Felt that way. Now you could even play for b4 at some point. The a3 pawn has wandered a little too far from home. So you can go for it. Indeed, he finds the idea. Ah, but rook d4. Oh, it was too early. Too soon. Did he just blow the draw? I think he might have. He doesn't look super... I'm looking at him. He doesn't look super happy with the decision. Oh! Whoa, they agreed to a draw, but he played rook c3. He was losing on the spot. Rook h3 was winning the rook. Dude, he just played rook c3 and offered a draw, and Safarli took it. Rook h3 was winning the rook in one move. Oh my gosh. You see that eval bar slide down. He plays rook c3 and offers a draw, and Safarli just agrees to it, and the position is winning. And now he's laughing about it. He sees it now. Do you see that smile? He knows now. He offered a draw to head to bullet, and Safarli just agrees instinctively. Oh my gosh, what a weird day this has been. God. That was crazy. That was hilarious. And it's understandable, right? But it's like one of those things where just the knee-jerk reaction. Oh my gosh. Grigori taking this thing down to the wire in bullet, and it could be Safarli's day in the end. We're going to find out soon. Safarli now gets the white pieces in the bullet tiebreaker, and Grigori, wow, what that game, it was totally winning for white. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So here we stand in the bullet tiebreaker. Every single one of our semifinalists matches has gone to bullet, by the way. So if you're just tuning in, earlier, Grigori eliminated Hikmatiriasan. Safarli eliminated Zviad Azoria. Both matches went to the bullet tiebreaker. So why not? I got no place else to go. So here we go. I actually do have places to go. I'm hungry. And apparently my kid needs to be picked up. My wife texted me. It's like, we can't rely on my logistics today. I'm doing commentary, honey. Like, you can't plan the day around me picking up our kid when you... Like, what if this keeps going to overtime, honey? What if they draw again and draw again, right? I know you guys don't want to hear the dad story. That's all I'm saying. All right. Knight g5. Okay, Safarli. Safarli on the grind. Safarli. What? Oh, Rook A8 wins a piece, bro. He missed it. Rook A8, dude. What is going on? I'm freaking out. Now black's up a pawn. Now black skewers the knights. Now black wins the knight. In the wildest of wild fashion, is Grigori going to get more winning chances here? No, but it's bullet. 12 seconds to 8 seconds. He plays the rook down. Will we get another draw? No, he's headed to h6 where he hides. Hides safely in the nest of h6. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. This is just like the game where Safarli flags Azoria. Yo, his mate's on h8. Oh, that would have been crazy. Is he going to get a draw? You have to go to g8. Did you get out? He sacks the rook and wins. Freaking nasty. Freaking nasty. Oh my God. Is that even fair? All's fair in chess and war and love. And oh. But this was actually a creative little way to get the draw, right? Because you're constantly threatening checkmate, right? And there's no way out besides going back to h7, right? So if you go back, you're going to get another check. So instead, Grigori sacks the rook, takes advantage of the time scramble, and wins on the clock. That's why it all comes down to bullet tiebreaker, and that's why the game is played, because it's not a perfect science. We're going to take our very last break of the day. I'm going to argue with my wife over some family logistics, and when we return, we wrap up the Speed Chess Grand Prix on this June 30th. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And we are back now, joined as usual by the tournament winner. Grigori Oparin makes it through quite the day. So first, let me ask you, Grigori, did you feel like the stars were aligning for you when Hikaru Nakamura's internet went down?
Yeah, I mean, I was just so lucky today. I should not have done it even to the knockout stage. I mean, I was completely lost in the round 9. Just
Really?
my opponent hang a rook in one move, and I had a wild game in the last round as well. Yeah, and of course with Hikaru. I mean, all my matches were crazy.
Right.
So yeah, I was so lucky today.
Well, I mean, it's good to be humble when you win. Obviously, you also played pretty well. I mean, it definitely felt that way for us watching you kind of survive some crazy scenarios, and then ultimately you win by a dirty flag here. Does it feel good to flag your opponent with rookie 6 a little bit? Feels good a little.
Not really, because I had this 2 against 1. I just fell into this
Yeah.
repetition. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
You
could
fell
have
into
done it better.
the repetition here.
I could have played with 2 against 1. It just was this crazy move for rookie 3, I guess.
Right. Rookie 3 instead of, what's the best way out? King G7 maybe?
I don't
to get
King
out of it?
G7 or Rook A3. I mean, I can play.
Rook
one.
A3 is a good idea. Then you get the checks. Okay, cool. Well, okay, obviously I was teasing about the dirty flag, and we won't focus too much on the chess here. But seriously, so talk a little bit about the day. How hard is it? Do you need a little bit of luck on your side to win one of these things when you have so many strong players playing in the main event, right? And then you get into the knockout where it's crazy. Do you feel like you have to have a little bit of luck in order to win one of these Tuesdays?
Yeah, sure. I mean, first of all, in the knockouts, in the quarterfinals, there's just one game, yeah?
Yeah.
So, and basically in the knockout stage, I didn't win a single game in Blitz. I mean, Hikaru disconnected in a game against me, and then I had 4 draws.
Right.
So it was all decided in bullet.
Yeah, and the other semifinal matchup was also decided in bullet. The one between Safarli and Azoria. So lots of free and fun chess for the fans here. Let me ask you, were you streaming today?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, you have a streamer setup. You have a nice streamer's chair.
Yeah, I do stream, but I wasn't streaming today.
So you do stream. So I can tell everyone where to follow you. What's your Twitch channel?
My Twitch channel is Ogrilla97.
Okay. Maybe someone watching can type in the chat for him. Go give Grigori a follow. Is that chess set in the background a nice streaming prop there? You got it set up nicely. Yeah. And where are you coming to us from these days? Are you you're still in the States?
Yeah, I'm still in Missouri. I mean, I just don't have a chance to go back home.
With
with
COVID
there are basically
and everything.
no flights back to Russia. So
right. Well, what would you say right now are the state of online chess? Right, no over the board chess. Are you excited about all the different online events and things you have available to do given the state of COVID-19 and the pandemic?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's very nice to have so many online events like this Title Tuesday events. There will be even some classical events, I believe. Like I'm going to play a classical event this weekend. So, of course, it's very nice to have such opportunities to practice a little bit.
Well, I don't have any other questions, man. Maybe I should. It was a wild day today. Congratulations. I mean, I know it felt a little bit lucky at times, obviously with the craziness, but you obviously deserved it. You made it through the gauntlet of crazy, and so congratulations and take home that $1,000 cash prize.
Thank you.
All right, man. Well, wish you the best and have a good afternoon.
Thanks.
Well, there you have it, everybody. Oparin Grigori. Grigori takes home the $1,000 cash prize. Young man from Russia, now in Missouri, as he said, attending university. Although no one knows what that even means these days to be going to college and attending a university because of the state of affairs. But we do know the state of affairs for online chess is thriving. That's one thing we do know. And with more events than ever, guys have opportunities to win $1,000 on a random Tuesday. So there you go, a lot of fun. Remind everybody that this happens every week. That's what the Title Tuesday is, formerly Title Tuesday, but actually now the Speed Chess Grand Prix. And what happened here today was wild. Again, sad for Hikaru Nakamura and all of his fans that they didn't get to see him continue on. But as fate would have it, the winner we just interviewed, Oparin Grigori, wouldn't have been here, maybe, if Hikaru doesn't have internet issues and ultimately go home because of that. But Still a very deserving winner there. Grigori takes home the prize. We saw his Twitch channel being shared there. Really appreciate that. Go give him a follow. He does stream and does play often on Chess.com. So fun stuff. Anyway, wow, this was wild. Welcome back. Haven't done a show in a few weeks. Happy to be here. Thanks to everyone who stuck around. Still have more than 8,000 of you with us across different platforms, so that's exciting. And the Speed Chess Grand Prix will be here yet again next Tuesday. Mark your calendar and don't miss it. We will see you then. So, on behalf of the crew here, working super hard, the Fair Play team, the events crew, monitoring and running the scoreboard, supporting everything. My producer, Mr. R in Hawaii, and the crew, our mods, thank you so much. We will see you next week for another SCC Grand Prix. Bye, everybody.